Chapter 761. Withdrawing the golden light from his eyes, Ning Fan looked at the desire-severing pearl that had already turned into ashes and smiled with satisfaction. I can't believe that just refining the eye of the 6 desires could actually raise the level of my eyes to the acquired eye. The Dharma eye was a great ability that was divided into 2 levels, acquired and innate. Normally, even true immortals would rarely cultivate the acquired Dharma eye. As for the innate Dharma eye, it was rare for even eternal ancient realm cultivators to cultivate it. Ning Fan's left eye could display the Fu Li eye technique's illusory and see-through abilities, while his right eye could display the Devil Luo eye to secretly learn other people's body techniques and devil martial arts. The power of these 2 eye techniques would greatly increase along with the completion of the acquired eye. The stronger one's eyesight, the more powerful the eye technique would be. After cultivating the acquired eye, Ning Fan's strength would naturally increase tremendously. Moreover, after attaining the acquired Dharma eye, he could begin to cultivate another secret technique. Chaotic World Glow Technique. Ning Fan's yin-yang transformation cultivation method had already reached the 2nd level of the 4th level. After refining the eye of the 6 desires, the power of his desire had greatly increased. His cultivation method advanced once again to the 3rd level of the 4th level. After attaining the 4th level, Ning Fan could cultivate another ability other than the yin plucking finger and the yin imprisoning rope. This ability was called Chaotic World Glow. Once the light swept across, none of the women would be able to escape. Those who could not defend against the light would be sucked into it. There were several prerequisites to cultivate this ability. Firstly, the cultivator must cultivate the acquired eye. Secondly, the cultivator must refine a strong power of desire. Thirdly, the cultivator must have a strong demon blood. Fourthly, the cultivator must use the power of desire and demon blood to refine his eyes and cultivate the yin-yang demon eyes. The yin-yang demon eyes could produce the chaotic world glow. The specific color of the chaotic world glow was related to the type of demon blood of the cultivator. Ning Fan possessed the bone of the 6 desires. His power of desire was strong enough. He possessed the ancestral blood of the Fu Li tribe, and his demon blood was also strong enough. Now that he had cultivated the acquired eye, he already had the qualifications to cultivate the yin-yang demon eyes. If he could cultivate the yin-yang demon eyes, he could produce the chaotic world glow and sweep all the female cultivators away. With a thought, Ning Fan's eyes glowed with golden light again. Then, he transferred the power of desire to his eyes to refine them. The pain of the refinement was like being burned by fire, but Ning Fan remained unmoved. After a month, the golden eye had been tempered by the power of desire, and it had become sharper and sharper. The light in the golden eye had gradually changed. The gold in his left eye was brighter, while the gold in his right eye was darker. After withdrawing the power of desire, Ning Fan summoned the Fu Li demon blood and used it to wash his eyes. This time, Ning Fan had gone through 3 months of pain. The light in his eyes was completely different from before. The light in his left eye had turned from bright gold to purple. The light in his right eye had already turned from dark gold to black. 1 purple and 1 black, 1 yang and 1 yin. At this point, Ning Fan's yin-yang demon eyes could be considered as having achieved the initial stage of cultivation. Traces of dark purple light flowed in Ning Fan's eyes. Ning Fan sat down with his legs crossed and cultivated diligently. The amount of multicolored light increased and the magic technique gradually took shape. Another 3 months passed and Ning Fan had completely mastered the chaotic world glow. With a thought, the yin-yang demon eyes appeared, and a purple and black light would be emitted from his eyes. He withdrew his thoughts, and the yin-yang demon eyes dispersed. The light in his eyes disappeared, and he returned to normal. In just 7 months, Ning Fan had successfully mastered the chaotic world glow. If ancient chaos were to be reborn and see this scene, he would certainly be impressed. At this moment, Ning Fan suddenly stood up. With a thought, the yin-yang demon eyes appeared. As he waved his hand, the dark purple light swept across the vast sky. It carried an extremely powerful subduing power. According to Ning Fan's estimation, with his current cultivation base, even an ordinary female cultivator would not be able to withstand this technique after displaying the chaotic world glow's great ability. This multicolored light is mainly purple while the black light is supplementary. It should be called the chaotic world glow. After withdrawing the multicolored light and dispersing the yin-yang demon eyes, Ning Fan sat down on the ground again and meditated for a long time. Inwardly, he was thinking that if he could cultivate the innate Dharma eye, the power of the chaotic world glow would probably increase greatly. After meditating for a few days, Ning Fan took out a fiery red wine gourd. It was the item that belonged to the old ancestor of the Jun family. This gourd was a sixth nirvana-acquired heavenly treasure. However, it did not have any offensive or defensive abilities. It was a supreme treasure for brewing wine. Using this treasure to brew spiritual wine would speed up the brewing process of the spiritual wine. Moreover, when the spiritual wine is placed in the gourd, the energy contained in the spiritual wine would increase bit by bit as time passes. The old ancestor of the Jun family loved wine as much as his life. He had carried this wine gourd with him for millions of years. The amount of spiritual wine contained in it was like a vast ocean. The spiritual wine was very mellow and the energy it contained was extremely terrifying. According to Ning Fan's estimation, if he drinks the entire ocean of wine, it would certainly not be a problem for him to break through to the early ghost profound realm. This wine is really good. Ning Fan suddenly stood up, pulled out the stopper of the gourd and gulped down the spiritual wine. While drinking, he frantically refined the energy within the wine. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, January, February, March, a whole year had passed. Ning Fan finally drank the entire ocean of wine and kept the wine gourd. Without the spiritual wine, this wine gourd would be useless. Ning Fan did not have the leisure to spend millions of years brewing spiritual wine. At this moment, Ning Fan's face was flushed, but his steps were steady and his eyes were still clear. After drinking the entire ocean of wine, he was still not drunk. If he didn't want to get drunk, what kind of wine could make him drunk? Ning Fan sat cross-legged on the ground. Energy accumulated in his dantian and turned into warm currents that flowed into his primordial spirit. Ning Fan's magic power had at least doubled compared to 1 year ago. He closed his eyes and sat there for a whole month. During this month, the Tao of life and death on his body were constantly changing. Born as a human and dead as a ghost. This was looking at life and death from the perspective of a human. When a human thinks that he is alive, he would naturally think that a ghost is dead. However, from the perspective of a ghost, perhaps believing that one is alive and being reincarnated as a human is dead. Ning Fan gradually understood more and more. He knew that the profound realm required an immortal cultivator to recognize the true meaning of life and death in order to achieve a breakthrough. Humans were not alive and ghosts were not dead. Life and death were two opposite concepts. Life referred to the beginning while death referred to the end. The starting point of a human and a ghost were different. Hence, their life and death were also different. Immortals were immortal. There was a beginning but there was no end. Therefore, they would never have a good ending. If an immortal died, it meant eternal death and this life would end forever. In the illusion of his mind, Ning Fan was standing on the Heart Lake, looking at his reflection in the lake. He was looking at his reflection and the reflection was also looking at him. One was real and one was real, one was fake and one was alive, or perhaps, there was no such thing as real and fake in this world. There was no such thing as life and death. Who is whose reflection? Who is alive and who is dead? You think that you are alive but it is very possible that you are just a dead person. The place where you live is just the netherworld in the eyes of the living, the me at this moment. Am I alive or dead? Am I a human or a ghost? At this moment, Ning Fan couldn't see through his own life and death. It was as if he couldn't see the relationship between dream and reality. Is reality really reality? Dream, is it really just a dream? Perhaps the reality you see is just a dream within a dream of you. Everyone in the world thinks that they are alive and that dreams are illusions. But is the view of the world really correct? What is life and what is death? Between humans and ghosts, who is alive and who is dead? Ning Fan suddenly opened his eyes and the illusion in his mind disappeared. His gaze was unprecedentedly dazed, as if he was immersed in the great path. His actions were seeking the Tao, he was coveting the truth of the Tao. Gradually, Ning Fan's eyes regained their clarity and became even more resolute than before. He vaguely understood something. The first ring of the heavenly Tao was the ring of life and death. Nominally, this ring was for cultivators to pursue immortality, but in reality, it was for cultivators to understand that immortality was just an illusion. A life immortal who couldn't even tell whether he was alive or dead, what right did he have to think that he was immortal? Therefore, cultivators must continue to search for the truth of Tao and the truth of Tao. The second ring of the heavenly Tao was the ring of true illusions. Only those who had seen through the truth of the Tao could enter the third step of cultivation. At this moment, Ning Fan could vaguely see the path to break through to the third step by thinking about the life and death of a human and a ghost. Third step cultivators had a special title. A saint. Sage meant that one's cultivation had reached the celestial sage level. Man referred to obtaining true life, because only by truly living could one be called a man. Ascend the mountain to be an immortal, descend the mountain to be a human. This simple sentence, however, explained all the key points of cultivating to the sage realm. From the second to the third step of cultivation, one must turn all illusions into reality. Otherwise, one would not be able to become a sage. Ning Fan had already vaguely realized that his current state could only be considered as a false life. His life, death and fate were all controlled by samsara and he could not extricate himself from it. The second ring of the heavenly Tao was like a calm lake. He sank into the lake water of the second ring like a fleeting reflection. He must jump out of the second ring of the heavenly Tao and get rid of his identity as a reflection. Only then could he truly live. He must jump out of this samsara to cultivate to the third step. At that time, his life and death would no longer be under the control of the samsara. At that time, only he could decide whether he would be a man or a ghost. Ning Fan's eyes became more and more resolute. He was no longer confused. He no longer doubted whether he was real or not, whether he was dead or alive, or whether he was just a shadow created by someone else's magic technique. That was not important. No matter whether he was a man or a ghost, real or fake, or whether he was just an illusion, he would continue to walk on this path of cultivation. At least, his obsession was real. His Tao was real. The warmth in his heart was real. That was enough. At this moment, Ning Fan suddenly understood something. He understood what immortal sovereign Zido had said during his tribulation of life and death. When he asked immortal sovereign Zido if he was dead or alive, immortal sovereign Zido only gave him an ambiguous answer. Now, he vaguely understood immortal sovereign Zido's feelings when he said those words. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with determination. His aura force suddenly rose. Whether I'm a man or a ghost, even if I'm just a wandering ghost, even if I'm just a shadow created by someone else's magic technique, even if I've never existed before, so what? So what if I'm alive or dead? No matter if I'm alive or dead, I will do what I have to do. As long as my Tao is not destroyed, my heart will never die and my body will never die. Profound Ghost Realm, break! Ning Fan shouted coldly. The bottleneck of the early Ghost Realm was forcefully broken by him without any surprise. At this moment, Ning Fan's aura force soared. He had officially broken through to the early Ghost Realm. At this moment, the strength of Ning Fan's magic power was comparable to that of a late Ghost Realm expert. At this moment, Ning Fan finally understood why after a second-step cultivator dies, as long as their Tao has yet to vanish, they would have the chance to be reborn using the hands of a third-step cultivator and return to their original state. The second step of longevity and eternal death were all just illusions. Only the Tao was real. The second step of Tao cultivation was as long as the Tao exists, I exist. Ning Fan also vaguely understood that the third step of Tao cultivation should be the realm of as long as the Tao exists. In the end, cultivators would have to rise above the cycle of samsara and the great Tao step by step. From the receiver of samsara to the controller of samsara step by step. In Ning Fan's mind, he once again recalled the words of Golden Cicada during the tribulation of life and death. All forms are illusions. If you see all forms that are not real, you will see the Tathagata. He had already understood this sentence. Even though I have already become an immortal now, everything I see and hear are all illusions. I can't even tell whether I'm real or not. If I can turn all the illusions before me into reality one day, I will be qualified to become a sage and step into the third step realm. The life and death tribulation really is a great opportunity. It actually hides the path to the third step. Whether it was Golden Cicada's words or Immortal Emperor Do's teachings, they were all guiding me to cultivate to the third step. Unfortunately, the life and death tribulation is an ancient tribulation. When ancient cultivators became immortals, they probably had to pass the life and death tribulation. Now, when cultivators become immortals, they don't have to go through this tribulation. There's no guidance to the third step. I wonder if this is the reason why no one in the 4 heavens and 9 realms has reached the third step. As for me, I've seen the path to the third step. I wonder if I'll have the chance to step into that legendary realm. Ning Fan adjusted his breathing for a month and completely stabilized his cultivation base. He also put away all the distracting thoughts in his mind. Although he saw the path to the third step, he still needed to bitterly cultivate and temper himself. Only then would he have a chance to enter the third step. After his cultivation base completely stabilized, he took out the ancient devil corpse that Yao Qingyun gave him and began to study it carefully. The essence of the ancient devil corpse's flesh and blood had long since been exhausted, so it didn't seem to have any use on the surface. However, after obtaining the cloaked corpse puppet, Ning Fan suddenly realized that the ancient devil corpse in front of him was extremely similar to the cloaked corpse puppet. That mid-thought fragmentation realm cloaked corpse puppet also had withered flesh and blood. From its appearance, ordinary people would only treat it as a useless corpse. No one would treat it as a puppet. 6 Desires Immortal King's puppet refinement technique was very different from ordinary puppet refinement techniques. His puppet looked like a useless corpse when it was placed there without being activated. It could only be controlled by using the puppet strings. Suddenly, Ning Fan thought of a possibility. Could it be that this ancient devil corpse isn't useless but has already been refined into a desire puppet by 6 Desires Immortal King? If that's the case, can I control this puppet with the puppet strings after I learn the 6 Desires puppet art? Thinking of this possibility, Ning Fan's eyes turned solemn. With his current cultivation base, even if he successfully cultivates the 6 Desires puppet art, he would still not be able to control that mid-thought fragmentation realm puppet for the time being. Without the cultivation base of Shedding Void, one could forget about controlling that puppet. Today, however, it was highly possible that Ning Fan had picked up an ancient devil puppet that was comparable to an early Shedding Void cultivator. If this ancient devil corpse was really a puppet, with Ning Fan's magic power that was comparable to a late Ghost Profound Realm cultivator, he would be able to control it in battle after mastering the 6 Desires puppet art. This meant that Ning Fan would have an early Shedding Void cultivator as his henchman. Moreover, it would be the kind that would obey his every order and would never betray him. What kind of betrayal could a corpse have? Thus, Ning Fan began to carefully inspect the ancient devil corpse to confirm whether it had been refined into a puppet or not. If it wasn't, Ning Fan would not have the ability to refine this ancient devil corpse into a desire puppet with his current cultivation base. Besides, he did not have that much time and money to waste. According to the records of the Six Desires puppet art, it would take at least hundreds or even thousands of years to refine an early shedding void puppet. Besides, the amount of heavenly materials and earthly treasures consumed would also be an astronomical figure if they were converted into Tao crystals. If this ancient devil corpse was not a finished product, Ning Fan would not have spent so much effort on it and would not have spent so much effort to refine it into a desire puppet. After a round of inspection, Ning Fan's frown gradually loosened and he revealed a satisfied smile. There were still some broken puppet lines of desire intent remaining in this ancient devil corpse. It was indeed a finished desire puppet. If Ning Fan successfully cultivates the Six Desires puppet art and condenses the puppet lines, he would be able to control this puppet to attack his enemies with his current cultivation base. At that time, he would have a shedding void cultivator by his side. Looks like it's necessary for me to cultivate the Six Desires puppet art properly. Other than the broken puppet lines in the ancient devil corpse, Ning Fan also found a broken devil talisman. Judging from the grade of the devil talisman, this ancient devil was not a supreme expert of the ancient devil clan. It was at most a mid-grade devil. The grade of the devil talisman of this ancient devil was far inferior to Ning Fan's Mo Luo ancestral talisman. Ning Fan waved his palm and summoned the Mo Luo ancestral talisman to repair the broken devil talisman in the ancient devil corpse. After repairing it, this ancient devil corpse could be considered to have a broken talisman. Its power was far from the complete devil talisman in the past, but it was still better than nothing. As for Ning Fan, he used the power of the ancestral talisman to obtain a lot of useful information from the broken talisman. For example, he obtained an ancient devil martial art of the Duzhen grade which was called the Formless Heavenly Devil Imprint. Another example was the cultivation method of the second step of the ancient devil realm and the division of cultivation realms. My current ancient devil cultivation base has already reached the peak of the revered devil realm. The next cultivation realm is the Si Chen realm. Ning Fan's eyes flashed. Chapter 762. The second step of the ancient devil realm was divided into three major realms, the 8 realms of Si Chen, the 12 realms of heavenly devil and the 9 realms of ancestral reversion. Ancient devils specialized in body cultivation and devil martial arts. They refined their essence into qi and had an invincible physical body. Si Chen could fight against life immortal realm experts. Heavenly devils could fight against true immortal realm experts while ancestral reversion ancient devils could fight against eternal ancient realm experts. There were 8 minor realms in the Si Chen realm, which corresponded to the 8 heavenly layers of the profound mortal realm and the 8 heavenly layers of the immortal body refinement realm. An ancient devil at the first heavenly layer of the Si Chen realm could defeat early profound mortal realm experts with just his physical body, while an ancient devil at the 8th heavenly layer of the Si Chen realm could be invincible against life immortal realm experts with just his physical body. Currently, Ning Fan had a large amount of corpse qi sealed in his body. If he could refine this corpse qi using the corpse Tao cultivation method, his body refinement cultivation base would certainly improve tremendously. His ancient devil cultivation base would also improve tremendously. After pondering for a while, Ning Fan decided to refine the corpse qi in his body and practice the 6 Desires puppet art to control the ancient devil corpse as his puppet. Ning Fan had completely given up on the corpse devil record and changed to an 8 stars corpse Tao cultivation method, heavenly corpse transformation. Ning Fan tried to break the seal on one of the corpse qi in his body and refined it using the circulation route of the heavenly corpse transformation. 10 days later, the first corpse qi was completely refined by Ning Fan. His heavenly corpse transformation cultivation method had reached the 5th level of the 2nd level. His ancient devil cultivation base naturally broke through the peak revered devil realm and advanced to the 2nd step. At this moment, the devil tribulation that descended from the heavens was shattered by Ning Fan with a single palm strike. At this moment, Ning Fan was already an ancient devil at the 1st heavenly layer of the Si Chen realm. With just the strength of his physical body, he could easily defeat early profound mortal realm experts. After his ancient devil cultivation base advanced to the second step, he continued to refine the second, third and fourth corpse chi. This time, it took him 3 years to refine the corpse chi. After refining 12 corpse chi, his cultivation base advanced to the second heavenly layer of the Si Chen realm. After refining 36 corpse chi, his cultivation base advanced to the third heavenly layer of the Si Chen realm. When he refined over 100 corpse chi, his cultivation base advanced to the fourth heavenly layer of the Si Chen realm. The fourth heaven of trickling dawn corresponded to the fourth severance of the celestial physique in the body cultivation tier, and corresponded to the peak stage of the mortal profound tier in the magic power tier. With the strength of his physical body, Chen Fan could easily kill a peak profound mortal realm experts with just by raising of his palm. He had also successfully cultivated the heavenly corpse transformation to the first realm of the fourth layer. 3 years later, Ning Fan began to cultivate the Six Desires puppet art. 1 year later, Ning Fan's puppet technique reached the small success stage and he could already form the puppet lines of desire. After another 1 year and 6 months, Ning Fan successfully planted the puppet thread into the body of the ancient devil puppet. The moment Ning Fan's finger touched the puppet thread, the eyes of the ancient devil corpse which was originally dead silent suddenly flashed with ferocious light. Its aura force which was comparable to the early shedding void realm spread out to the sky. This ancient fiend was a fifth firmament sky fiend, and he could fight an early stage sky-split void cultivator with just his physical strength. After staying in the profound Yin world for a few years, Ning Fan reckoned that Yuan Zong should have already bought enough 1 million years old spiritual herbs and returned to the Six Desires sect. After keeping the ancient devil puppet into the puppet pouch hanging on his waist, Ning Fan was about to leave the profound Yin world. All of a sudden, the voice transmission jade token in his storage pouch rang. Ning Fan took out the sound transmission jade token. As soon as he heard the message from the jade token, his eyes immediately turned grim. This voice transmission came from Sky Origin Sect. The content of the message made Ning Fan's eyes flash with cold light. 3 early crossing realm experts and 2 intermediate crossing realm experts. How dare you bully my Six Desires sect with such a small number of people? You are simply courting death. In the outside world. It had been 7 years since Ning Fan entered the profound Yin world. 1 year ago, Yuan Zong had already returned to the Six Desires sect and spent 800 billion Dao crystals to purchase a total of 500 tufts of 1 million years old spiritual herbs. Since spiritual herbs were scarce in the Six Desires star region, he went to the other star regions and finally bought all of them. He had been waiting for 1 year in the Six Desires sect. As soon as Ning Fan comes out of his seclusion and walks out of the forbidden area, he would offer all of his spiritual herbs to him. Unfortunately, after waiting for 1 year, a great calamity came first before Ning Fan came out of his seclusion. The 3 great crossing realm forces of the Six Desires star region and 2 true immortal rogue cultivators from other star regions sealed the entire Six Desires star region. Their goal was to force the Six Desires sect to hand over all of their 1 million years old spiritual herbs. A 1 million years old spiritual herb that was worth 800 billion Dao crystals was enough to tempt the 3 great crossing realm forces. When the 3 great forces received the news that Yuan Zong had returned from another star region and brought back 1 million years old spiritual herbs that were worth 800 billion Dao crystals, they could no longer suppress their greed. The 3 great crossing realm forces were the Zhao clan, the Wang clan and the Jin clan. All of them were major forces whose names shook the eastern heaven. Each of the 3 great clans had an early crossing realm old ancestor. This time, the 3 great forces invited 2 true immortal experts to help them. Both of them were at the mid-crossing realm. The 5 true immortal experts acted together and sealed the entire Six Desires star. Not a single cultivator of the Six Desires star could escape and leave the planet. Yuan Zong. Hand over all of your 1 million years old spiritual herbs. Otherwise, don't blame us for joining hands to annihilate the Six Desires sect. An early crossing realm old man with a dark face stood in the starry sky and shouted in a deep voice. His voice echoed throughout the entire Six Desires star region. He was the old ancestor of the Jin clan. He was a famous figure in the Eastern Heaven who had dominated the entire Six Desires star region with his devil-controlling flag. Humph! Yuan Zong. Don't be so ungrateful. We have already given you 1 year to consider. As long as you are willing to hand over all of your spiritual herbs obediently, we will let your Six Desires sect go. However, 1 year has passed and you are still unwilling to hand over all of your spiritual herbs. Do you really think that you, a mere early crossing realm cultivator who is on the verge of death, is qualified to possess so many 1 million years old spiritual herbs? Humph, this old man thinks that you won't shed a tear until you see the coffin. You want to force us to kill you. Another one-eyed old man coldly said. His voice carried the aura of an early crossing realm cultivator and swept across the entire Six Desires star region. This person was the old ancestor of the Zhao clan. He had shaken the entire Six Desires star region with his pair of Dao soldiers. Humph! Since there is no point in talking, let us attack together and directly annihilate the Six Desires sect. Although the Six Desires sect's protective array is quite powerful, it will not be able to withstand our joint attack. A middle-aged man wearing iron armor sneered. This person was the old ancestor of the Wang clan. He had shaken the entire Six Desires star region with his powerful body refining technique. He had even cultivated the false devil talisman. A mere Six Desires sect is not worth mentioning. Let it be annihilated. Once we annihilate the Six Desires sect, we will slaughter this planet and use the souls of the cultivators of this planet to refine treasures. I believe that the power of our Dao soldiers will greatly increase. The two middle crossing realm old men sneered. These two people looked very similar. They were a pair of twin brothers. Their bodies were filled with dense yin qi and they were experts in ghostly joint attacks. They were known as the two elders of the heavenly ghost. When the two of them joined forces, they could even fight an old monster at the late crossing realm. After the 5 true immortals threatened, they simultaneously released their aura. The earth-shattering aura turned into endless dark clouds that enveloped the entire Six Desires star. In an instant, the entire Six Desires star trembled. The earth quaked, the mountains and rivers collapsed, and the rivers and seas flowed in reverse. On the Six Desires star, countless cultivators of the Xiu nation revealed terrified expressions. As cultivators of the Six Desires star, who didn't know that the Six Desires sect had already declined? The Six Desires sect was not a match for the Zhao clan, the Wang clan, and the Jin clan. Moreover, the 3 ancestors had invited the help of the 2 elders of the heavenly ghost. It would not be difficult for the 5 true immortals to annihilate the Six Desires sect. The reason why the 5 true immortals gave the Six Desires sect a year to consider and did not immediately attack was because they were afraid of the Six Desires sect's protective array. The protective array of the Six Desires sect was quite powerful. If they were to attack the Six Desires sect by force, even if the 5 true immortals joined forces, they would have to pay some price to break it. At first, the 5 true immortals wanted to subdue the Six Desires sect without a fight. They wanted to force Yuan Zong to hand over all the spiritual herbs so that they could save some effort. However, they never thought that Yuan Zong, who had always been tactful, would actually become so stubborn. He would rather fight against the 5 true immortals than to hand over the 1 million years old spiritual herbs. 1 year had passed. The 5 true immortals had lost all their patience. They finally decided to massacre the Six Desires sect and snatch the 1 million years old spiritual herbs. Sect Master, please consider the big picture and hand over the spiritual herbs. Protect us from the death of the Six Desires sect. 100,000 disciples knelt in the mountain gate and pleaded to the sect master's forbidden area. Outside the forbidden area, the 3,000 primordial restoration realm cultivators, 200 void fragmentation realm cultivators and 3 fate immortals of law enforcing immortal realm were extremely ugly expressions. They understood that the reason why their sect master bought so many spiritual herbs was because of their master's order. These spiritual herbs belonged to their master. Without their master's order, it was impossible for Yuan Zong to hand them over. Yuan Zong held a green storage pouch that was filled with 1,000,000 years old spiritual herbs. He closed his eyes and remained silent. He had never thought that his carelessness in purchasing the spiritual herbs would actually lead to today's calamity. If these spiritual herbs belonged to Yuan Zong, he would not be stingy no matter how valuable they were. It was not impossible for him to spend some money to get rid of the calamity. Unfortunately, these spiritual herbs belonged to his master, Ning Fan. As his subordinate, he could not use these spiritual herbs on his own. It was even more impossible for him to give his master's spiritual herbs to others. The old ancestors of the Zhao clan, Wang clan and Jing clan have gone too far. The 2 elders of the heavenly ghost have also gone too far. If my master grows up one day, he will certainly avenge the humiliation that our 6 Desires sect has suffered today. Sensing the tremors of the entire 6 Desires star, Yuan Zong's eyes flashed with a cold light. He took a step into the sky. Through the sect protection grand formation of the 6 Desires sect, Yuan Zong looked at the scene of mountains and rivers shaking in the outside world. He looked at the 5 true immortal realm experts who stood proudly in the 6 Desires star river. There was only coldness in his eyes. These 1,000,000 years old spiritual herbs belong to my master. It's impossible for me to give them to you. If you continue to force me, I will make you pay even if I have to risk my life. Yuan Zong said coldly. What? These spiritual herbs belong to your master. Yuan Zong, do you think you can deceive us by telling such a lie? As soon as they heard Yuan Zong's words, the expressions of the 5 old monsters changed drastically. On the entire 6 Desires star, everyone who heard Yuan Zong's words was astonished. Yuan Zong, who was a true immortal realm expert, actually had a master. What kind of expert would he be if he could have a true immortal realm expert as his servant? He would at least be a late true crossing realm or a peak true immortal realm old monster. If what Yuan Zong said is true, the 5 true immortals including the 2 elders of the heavenly ghost wore extremely solemn expressions. If the 6 Desires sect really has such a powerful expert behind their back, they would not dare to act recklessly against them. On second thought, the 6 Desires sect had always been poor. Why would they be able to fork out 800 billion Tao crystals to purchase 1,000,000 years old spiritual herbs? Yuan Zong definitely could not afford so many Tao crystals with his meager wealth. Could it be that Yuan Zong really has a master behind his back? Moreover, this master was so wealthy that he could fork out 800 billion Tao crystals to Yuan Zong for him to purchase spiritual herbs. What kind of cultivation base and what kind of background could an expert take out 800 billion Tao crystals at one time? Perhaps only a sky-rending force or a large-scale alchemy force like medicine sect or pills sect could have such a strong foundation. The 5 true immortals looked extremely fearful. Suddenly, the old ancestor of Jing family sneered. No. This Yuan Zong must be lying. If he really has a master backing him up, why haven't we seen his master show up after besieging the 6 Desires star for a year? This so-called master simply doesn't exist. He is a fictional character created by Yuan Zong. As for why Yuan Zong has so many Tao crystals to purchase 1,000,000 years old spiritual herbs, I'm afraid he has obtained a large number of Tao crystals by chance. As for what kind of chance it is, I think we will know after we take down Yuan Zong. After hearing what the old ancestor of Jing family said, the other 4 true immortals nodded in agreement. The fear in their hearts immediately disappeared as they stared coldly at Yuan Zong. Yuan Zong. I'm going to ask you one last time. Are you going to hand over these 500 tufts of 1 million years old spiritual herbs or not? The old ancestor of the Zhao family asked with a gloomy expression. I've already said that these spiritual herbs belong to my master. It's impossible for me to hand them over to you. My master is currently in seclusion in the Six Desires sect. He can't spare any time to teach you a lesson. However, if you still haven't left after my master finishes his seclusion, you will regret it in the future. Yuan Zong replied fearlessly. Perhaps, the Six Desires sect was going to be destroyed today. However, Yuan Zong did not have any fear. He had already led the entire Six Desires sect to submit to Ning Fan. Everything he did was for Ning Fan's benefit. Even if the Six Desires sect is destroyed, he would never give Ning Fan spiritual herbs to others. He deeply believed that if the 5 true immortals in front of him dared to attack the Six Desires sect today, they would certainly regret it in the future. Perhaps it would only take a few thousand years or a few hundred years for his master to grow to the true immortal realm. That day would be the day that the 5 true immortals would regret. No, perhaps after today, the 5 true immortals would regret their actions. His master was not an ordinary peak profound realm cultivator. Before he became an immortal, it was said that he had already made a name for himself in the Eastern Heaven with his Spirit Blast technique. It was said that Ning Fan's Spirit Blast technique was extremely powerful. It could instantly kill a mid-true crossing realm cultivator and severely injure a late true crossing realm cultivator. Perhaps, Ning Fan had the ability to solve the crisis of the Six Desires sect. Yuan Zong, don't try to deceive us with lies. We will not be deceived by you. The 5 true immortals had long been blinded by greed. Even if Yuan Zong really had a master to support him, they would still snatch this batch of 1 million years old spiritual herbs today. The old ancestor of the Zheng family took a step forward. He opened his mouth and breathed out a black mist. The black mist condensed into a black flag that was filled with devil chi. The name of this flag was the Ghost Controlling Flag. It contained the souls of billions of cultivators. Its power was boundless. It was the Tao weapon of the old ancestor of the Zheng family. Among the billions of souls, there were 30,000 void fragmentation realm souls, 72 life immortal realm souls and an early true crossing realm main soul. With this treasure in hand, the strength of the old ancestor of the Zheng family was rarely matched among the early true crossing realm cultivators in the entire Eastern Heaven. Souls, kill. The old ancestor of the Zheng family suddenly made a hand seal and hit the ghost controlling flag. In the next moment, a billion spirits covered the heavens and the earth as they swept out, and they assaulted the entire Six Desires sect. If these souls were allowed to enter the Six Desires planet, blood would certainly flow like a river on the planet. Not good. Sect Protecting Grand Formation. Open. Without any hesitation, Yuan Zong took out a formation plate and activated the Sect Protecting Grand Formation of the Six Desires sect. Then, the formation light spread to the entire Six Desires planet. On the surface of the Six Desires planet, 6 layers of light screens of 6 colors rose. Under the defense of the 6 layers of formation light, not a single soul could break into the territory of the Six Desires planet. When the cultivators of the Six Desires planet saw Yuan Zong taking action to protect the planet, each of them heaved a sigh of relief. Then, they prayed one after another, praying that the formation light would not be broken. Once the formation light was broken, Yuan Zong would definitely not be able to fight against the 5 true immortals alone. The old ancestor of the Zheng family frowned. Then, he let out a cold humph and suddenly changed his hand seal. The billions of souls suddenly condensed and merged into one. A soul giant suddenly appeared in the starry sky. It was condensed from billions of souls. The giant's cultivation was infinitely close to the middle stage of the crossing truth realm. He coldly stared at the formation light and suddenly let out a gloomy roar. Countless nebulae immediately appeared beneath his feet, within which lightning flowed. The giant roared towards the sky and punched out. A huge fist light with lightning flowing around it smashed into the Six Desires Planet Star Guardian array with a shrill roar. Boom! After a huge explosion, the entire Six Desires planet began to shake violently. Even so, the formation light did not shatter. What a powerful formation light! The expressions of the 5 true immortals, including the 2 elders of the heavenly ghost, changed. The cultivation of the Een Soul Giant was close to the middle stage of the crossing truth realm. Yet, the power of his fist couldn't even leave half a crack on the formation. It was clear how amazing the defense of the formation was. Brother Zheng, I'll also lend you a hand and help you break the formation. Mother-child Dao sword, slash. A trace of ruthlessness flashed in the eyes of the old ancestor of the Zhao family. He also stepped forward and slapped the top of his head. The top of his head immediately opened and 2 sword rays, one black and one red, flew out. His Dao weapon was a pair of mother-child flying swords. The 2 sword rays pierced through the starry sky. The powerful sword energy caused all cultivators below the true immortal realm to feel suffocated and their eyes to stab with pain. The tyrannical sword rays cooperated with the attack of the Een Soul Giant and bombarded the 6-colored grand formation. In an instant, the entire Six Desires planet shook even more violently. For the first time, cracks started to appear on the 6-colored array. Since Brother Zheng and Brother Zhao have made a move, how could I just stand by and watch? I'll lend you a hand right now. Devil transformation. The old ancestor of the Wang family sneered and formed a seal with his fingers. The pseudo-devil talisman turned into profound devil runes that instantly covered his entire body. His body instantly became monstrous devil chi. With every step he took, his body grew several times taller. After a few steps, his body was already 120,000 feet tall and he turned into a devil giant wearing iron armor. Devil sword, desolate sacrifice. The giant waved his hand and the surging devil chi turned into a huge black sword. This sword was neither a magic treasure nor a Dao weapon. Instead, it was a weapon that was transformed from a divine ability. It was a type of ancient devil martial technique. The old ancestor of the Wang family was a pseudo-ancient devil. He could barely use this technique and summon the devil sword. Break! The devil giant held the devil sword in his hand and swung it down from the sky, summoning a monstrous devil cloud. The destructive power of this sword combined with the attacks of the Een Soul Giant and the old ancestor of the Zhao family. Under the joint attack of the 3 of them, more and more cracks appeared on the grand formation. 2 hours later, the first layer of formation light was already broken by the 3 of them. There were only 5 layers of formation light left in the star protecting grand formation. Based on the speed of the 3 old ancestors, it was just a matter of time before they broke the remaining 5 layers of formation light. The moment the first layer of formation light was broken, countless cultivators on the Six Desires planet revealed a look of terror. Yuanzong's expression was also extremely unpleasant. He patted his storage pouch and took out a sound-transmitting jade tablet. Before Yuanzong left the Six Desires planet, Ning Fan had given him a sound-transmitting jade tablet and told him that he could use it to report to Yuanzong if there were any important matters. What Ning Fan meant was that Yuanzong should not use this jade tablet to communicate with Yuanzong unless something serious happened. It was to prevent Yuanzong from disturbing his cultivation. Even if he wanted to buy spiritual herbs, he did not need to inform Yuanzong through voice transmission. He just needed to wait for the time being. Yuanzong did not dare to disobey Ning Fan's order. After buying the spiritual herbs, he did not dare to disturb Ning Fan when he saw that Ning Fan had yet to come out from his seclusion. Since the Six Desires planet was surrounded, Yuanzong also did not dare to disturb Ning Fan's cultivation. However, the Six Desires sect had already reached a critical moment of life and death. Once the grand formation is broken, the sect's destruction would be imminent. Yuanzong had no choice but to send a voice transmission to inform Ning Fan that a calamity was about to befall the sect. Perhaps, Ning Fan could save the sect with the Spirit Blast technique. Perhaps, Ning Fan was still not a match for the 5 true immortals for the time being. No matter what the outcome was, Yuanzong had to inform Ning Fan about it. After sending the voice transmission, Yuanzong's eyes flashed with determination. If Ning Fan could not save the 6 Desires sect today and could not defeat the 5 true immortals, Yuanzong would send Ning Fan away from the 6 Desires planet safely even at the cost of his own life. Ning Fan was his master. He would never let his master die in this place. He. This grand formation is really quite mysterious. Fine. Let the 2 of us take action as well. The sooner we break the formation and get the spiritual herbs, the sooner we can save ourselves the trouble. The 2 elders of the heavenly ghosts sneered coldly. Each of them took a step forward and joined the fray to break the formation. Their cultivation bases were considered to be the highest in this place. Their sense of danger was also the sharpest. At the moment Yuanzong sent the voice transmission, the 2 of them actually felt uneasy for no reason. It was as if some kind of danger was approaching. This feeling made the 2 of them feel extremely uncomfortable. Perhaps the voice transmission Yuanzong sent just now was to ask for help from a certain expert. In order to avoid any trouble, it would be better for them to break the formation and snatch the spiritual herbs as soon as possible. The 2 of them formed hand seals at the same time. Then, a sea of blood appeared under their feet. The sea of blood was the form of their Tao soldiers. Under the control of the 2 elders of the Heavenly Devil sect, the 2 seas of blood turned into thousands of blood dragons. They brought along strong gales and fiercely collided with the formation light. The combined attack of the 5 true immortals was nearly as powerful as a strike from an expert at the peak-crossing truth realm. After 100 breaths, the second layer of the formation light shattered. After 50 breaths, the third layer of the formation light shattered. After 30 breaths, the fourth layer of the formation light shattered. After 10 breaths, the fifth layer of the formation light shattered. After 3 breaths, the sixth layer of the formation light shattered. At this point, the sixth layer of the formation light shattered. At this point, the entire 6 Desires planet was completely exposed in front of the 5 true immortals. Slaughter the stars. The 5 true immortals raised their heads and laughed. Each of them used their divine abilities to attack the 6 Desires planet. At this moment, a vast aura comparable to the early stage of shedding void suddenly swept across the entire 6 Desires planet. I am the master of the 6 Desires planet. How dare you come to my 6 Desires planet to cause trouble? You are courting death. As soon as the voice fell, an earth-shattering black fist light blasted out from the direction of the 6 Desires sect's immortal king palace. As soon as the fist light blasted out, the whole world was shrouded in demonic light. The speed of the fist light was so fast that even a cultivator at the peak-crossing truth realm couldn't dodge it. In the blink of an eye, the fist light blasted out of the 6 Desires planet and into the starry sky. It landed in front of the Zhao family's patriarch, the Wang family's patriarch, the Jing family's patriarch, and the 2 sky demon elders. The fist light suddenly split into 5 and smashed down fiercely. At this moment, the starry sky trembled violently. Giant spirit, destroyed. Mother-child Tao sword, shattered. The blood dragons that filled the sky died. The 5 true immortals were hit by the fist light at the same time. Each of their faces turned extremely pale. Just one punch had seriously injured the 5 of them. If another punch landed, the 5 of them would die for sure. For the first time, the 5 true immortals revealed a terrified expression. Almost at the same time, the 5 of them cried out in fear. Old monster shedding void. The 6 Desires sect has old monster shedding void guarding it. Strong expert shedding void. We will definitely die after offending an old monster of that level. My life is over. The gap between crossing truth and shedding void was impossible to cross. Who would have thought that the Six Desires sect had shedding void guarding it? If they had known this earlier, they would not have dared to cause trouble at the Six Desires sect even if they had 10,000 times more courage. I will only give you 3 breaths of time to make your choice. Do you want to die or allow Ning Fan to plant a mental seal on you, become my slave and join my Six Desires sect? Under the starry sky, Ning Fan's white robes made him look like an immortal. His ferocious aura was like that of a devil. Beside him was a burly man wearing a black cloak. That burly man's entire body was emitting shedding void chi. That burly man was the ancient devil puppet. Yuan Zong's expression changed greatly. He stared at Ning Fan in disbelief. He had guessed that Ning Fan might be able to solve the calamity of the Six Desires sect. However, he did not expect that Ning Fan could actually suppress the 5 true immortals with such a powerful stance. Master actually has a shedding void expert following him. What is going on? Yuan Zong was extremely shocked. There are no more updates. Let's wash up and go to sleep. Chapter 763. The ancient devil puppet's aura force, which was comparable to Shikong's aura force, shocked everyone present. Under its aura force, the entire starry sky trembled. No one dared to make a sound. The strongest expert here was only at the mid-nascent soul realm. Within a short period of time, no one could tell that the cloaked ancient devil puppet was not a living person. If they knew that the old monster Shikong who suddenly appeared in front of them was just a puppet, they would probably be even more astonished. Ning Fan moved forward step by step, entangling the puppet's strings with his fingers. The ancient devil puppet followed behind him obediently. When the 2 elders of the heavenly ghost, Yuan Zong and the other 2 true immortals saw this scene, they were all shocked. They did not know what the ancient devil puppet was, but they could vaguely tell that Ning Fan and the ancient devil puppet had a master-servant relationship. Ning Fan was the master while the ancient devil was the servant. Even though they could not understand why a dignified old monster with Shikong's cultivation base would obey Ning Fan, who was only at the Ghost Profound realm. At this moment, Ning Fan's early Ghost Profound realm cultivation base was exposed in front of everyone without any concealment. The 5 true immortals did not know Ning Fan. All of them began to guess his identity and background. It was hard for them to imagine what kind of terrifying background Ning Fan had to have the qualifications to have a servant at the Shikong realm. One breath. Ning Fan's cold voice sounded like the voice of an undead spirit from the netherworld. It resounded once again and entered the ears of the 2 elders of the heavenly ghost and the other true immortals. As soon as his voice fell, the ancient devil puppet took a step forward. The devil chi around his body was monstrous. Countless cracks of the laws of the starry sky were left behind by his step. The great momentum was crushed by the ancient devil puppet with a single step. The destructive force went towards the 2 elders of the heavenly ghost and the others. Under the destructive force, the 5 true immortals coughed out blood and were forced to retreat. They did not have the strength to resist at all. Each of their faces was filled with fear. Only then did they remember that Ning Fan had only given them 3 breaths to make a choice. Either be a slave or die. At such a chaotic moment, how could they have the time to think about Ning Fan's identity and background? I'm a true immortal after all. How can I be a slave to a mere Ghost Profound realm cultivator like you? The old ancestor of the Zheng family harumphed angrily. He took out an immortal talisman from his sleeve and slapped it on his chest. Then, his body turned into a ray of light and fled 10 billion li in just a breath. He was arrogant by nature. He knew that he was no match for Shikong Lao, but he was not willing to become someone else's slave. Ning Fan's expression was as cold as before. He hooked the puppet string with his finger, and the ancient devil puppet beside him suddenly raised its fist and hurled a punch at the direction where the old ancestor of the Jing family had escaped. Streaks of blood-red ancient demon talismans filled the starry sky. A fist projection covered in crimson lightning flashed across the distance of 5 billion kilometers before crashing into the body of the Jing family patriarch. Bang! In the dark starry sky 10 billion miles away, blood-red lightning suddenly shook the world and rumbled endlessly. After the fist energy killed the Jing family's ancestor, it turned into endless lightning. Even from 10 billion miles away, the blinding blood color could be seen. The ancient devil puppet's face was expressionless. It took a step forward and instantly vanished without a trace. At the next moment, it returned to its original spot and handed over the primordial spirit and storage pouch of the Jing family's old ancestor to Ning Fan. 2 breaths. In front of the remaining 4 true immortal realm enemies, Ning Fan kept the storage pouch of the old ancestor of the Jing family and searched his soul and memories on the spot. This scene shocked the remaining 4 perfected immortal enemies. The old ancestor of the Jing family was unwilling to be Ning Fan's slave. That was why he could not escape death. If they refused to be Ning Fan's slaves, they would probably end up in a miserable state. Without waiting for Ning Fan to count to the 3rd breath, the 4 perfected immortal realm enemies exchanged glances with each other. They suppressed the regret and unwillingness in their hearts and clenched their teeth. Then, they cupped their fists at Ning Fan and said, "We're willing to be your slaves." If they refused to be slaves, what awaited them was death. They had no other choice at all. Ning Fan did not waste time talking to the 4 of them. He spread his spirit sense and planted a restrictive thought in their sea of consciousness. How would the 4 of them dare to resist? They allowed the restrictive thought to be planted in them. From now on, their life and death would be under Ning Fan's control. They were filled with regret. They regretted why they attacked the 6 Desires sect for the 5,500 tufts of spiritual herbs. If they knew that the 6 Desires sect had such a strong backer, how would they dare to provoke them? How would they end up as slaves? The faces of the old ancestor of the Zhao family, the old ancestor of the Wang family and the 2 elders of the heavenly ghost were filled with regret. Yuan Zhong's face was still filled with disbelief. Until now, he still could not believe that Ning Fan actually had a void-shedding servant following him. All of a sudden, Yuan Zhong seemed to have discovered something extremely shocking. His expression changed greatly as he stared at the ancient devil puppet. The 2 elders of the heavenly ghost and the others also noticed the strange behavior of the ancient devil puppet. Their eyes were filled with astonishment once again. "Master, this senior is..." Yuan Zhong calmed himself down. As if he was trying to ascertain something, he pointed at the ancient devil puppet beside Ning Fan and inquired. "A puppet?" Ning Fan did not conceal the identity of the ancient devil puppet. Due to Ning Fan's sudden appearance earlier, none of them had the time to see through his identity. At this moment, Yuan Zhong and the others could vaguely tell that the ancient devil puppet was not a living person. Since that was the case, there was no need for them to conceal the identity of the ancient devil puppet. What? It's really a puppet. A puppet that is comparable to void-shedding servant. All of a sudden, the expressions of Yuan Zhong, the old ancestor of the Zhao family, the old ancestor of the Wang family and the 2 elders of the heavenly ghost changed greatly. Ning Fan, however, continued to search the soul of the old ancestor of the Jing family without any change in his expression. After searching all of the memories of the old ancestor of the Jing family, Ning Fan used a secret technique to refine the primordial spirit of the old ancestor of the Jing family and kept it into his soul pouch. Divine Blast Technique. Could Master be? The expressions of the old ancestor of the Zhao family, the old ancestor of the Wang family and the 2 elders of the heavenly ghost changed. They recognized that the primordial spirit that Ning Fan refined was the secret version of the Divine Blast Technique. Tens of years ago, when Ning Fan first entered the Eastern Heaven, his name shook the entire eastern heaven with the divine blast technique. The old ancestor of the Zhao family and the others were quite far away from the star region where Ning Fan was. Thus, they did not pay much attention to Ning Fan. Neither did they recognize Ning Fan's appearance. However, they had vaguely heard of Ning Fan's name. Now, as soon as they saw the divine blast technique, they could vaguely guess Ning Fan's identity. For a moment, the four of them wore extremely strange expressions. Sometimes, they would even sigh deeply. Who would have thought that a Void Fragmentation Realm Junior who had just joined the Slaughter Palace a few decades ago would actually become their master after a few decades? Who would have thought that Ning Fan could cultivate from the peak-shattering realm to the early Ghost Profound realm in just a few decades and even possess a void-shedding puppet? Even Yuan Zong did not expect Ning Fan to be at the early Ghost Profound realm today. 7 years ago, Ning Fan was only at the peak Mortal Profound realm. Yuan Zong also did not expect that Ning Fan would have a void-shedding puppet in his hands, which allowed him to easily resolve the great calamity of the Six Desires sect. For the first time in his life, Yuan Zong felt that he could not see through a life-immortal realm cultivator. He felt that Ning Fan was too profound and unfathomable. As soon as the old ancestor of the Jing family died, the Jing family became a place without a master. Under Ning Fan's order, Yuan Zong and the other four true immortals acted aggressively and destroyed the Jing family, completely erasing their name from the eastern heaven. All the cultivators of the Jing family, Zhao family and Wang family were planted with a mental seal and merged into the Six Desires sect. The two elders of the Heavenly Ghost also joined the Six Desires sect as a guest elder. The 74,000 cultivation planets in the entire Six Desires star region were all incorporated into the Six Desires sect sphere of influence. The Six Desires star region was unified. Under Ning Fan's strict order, Yuan Zong and the others did not reveal the fact that Ning Fan had become the master of the Six Desires star region. Within the territory of the Six Desires star region, the memories of every cultivator who saw the ancient devil puppet attack were all erased by Ning Fan. Ning Fan did not want others to know that he possessed an ancient devil puppet that was comparable to Shikong, and he also did not want them to know that he had become the master of the Six Desires star region. If these two matters were to spread out, Ning Fan would once again attract the attention of countless old monsters in the eastern heaven, just like how he did 10 years ago. At this moment, Ning Fan did not want to attract anyone's attention because what he wanted to do next needed to be done in a low-profile manner. He had already decided to steal the Joss flames of the entire eastern heaven on a large scale. It was not a good thing to attract too much attention. The total savings of the Zhao family, Wang family and Jing family amounted to about 400 billion Dao crystals. All of them were used by Ning Fan to purchase 1 million years old spiritual herbs. The outside world was widely rumored that the Six Desires sect had found a powerful backer who forcefully subdued the three great true immortal realm forces and unified the entire Six Desires star region. However, no one knew who the backer of the Six Desires sect was. In the blink of an eye, 1 year had passed. In the profound Yin world, Ning Fan sat down with his legs crossed and cultivated diligently. Once he did so, he cultivated the three flowers converging prominence technique. During this 1 year, Ning Fan had refined a total of 8,400 tufts of 1 million years old spiritual herbs. Beside him was a lead-colored lotus flower. The lead-colored lotus flower had 12 petals, and each petal was lead-colored. The three flowers converging prominence technique had been completely cultivated to the great perfection realm of the first flower. With a single thought from Ning Fan, 1 million lead-colored lotus shadows densely covered the entire area. Even an early true immortal realm true immortal would find it difficult to break through the powerful defense of the lotus. Looking at the lotus shadows that filled the sky, Ning Fan smiled in satisfaction. He kept the lotus shadows and slowly stood up. Since I have already cultivated the first flower to the great perfection realm, I should be able to start cultivating the second flower. Unfortunately, one of the prerequisites for cultivating the second flower is to possess ancestral grade divine blood. Forget it. I can't force myself to have ancestral-grade divine blood. I can put the cultivation of the second flower aside for now. As for the trip to the Supreme Pill's sacred region, I need to make a good plan. There were still about 10 years before the opening of the Supreme Pill's sacred region. He had an appointment with O Young One. 10 years later, he would go to the medicine sect and accompany her to enter the Supreme Pill's sacred region. He would never forget this matter. He had enough time to rush to the 100 Herb Star region where the medicine sect was located. Along the way, he would pass by thousands of star regions and there would be plenty of opportunities to steal Joss flames. Moreover, he would also pass by the Quicksand Star region along the way. Quicksand Star region, Quicksand secret place, ancient god's cave of time. This was a secret place that Lu Xian told him about. There was a great fortune hidden there. Ning Fan's eyes turned slightly solemn. If he passes by the Quicksand Star region, he must enter that ancient god's cave of time and search for a good fortune. He patted his storage pouch and took out the Joss Flame Demon puppet. Looking at the puppet, Ning Fan fell into deep thought. The Joss Flame Demon puppet could steal the Joss flames of others. Since it was damaged, its power was greatly reduced. If it steals the Joss flames of living people, it could at most steal the Joss flames of true Enlightenment realm cultivators. However, if it steals the Joss flames of the dead, it could barely steal the Joss flames of a void-abandoning realm cultivator. The old ancestor of the Yao family was a void-abandoning realm cultivator. However, because he had fallen a long time ago, Ning Fan easily took away the Joss flames that he had collected from the golden body of the temple. If the old ancestor of the Yao family was still alive, Ning Fan would never be able to steal his Joss flames no matter what. After keeping the Joss Flame Demon puppet, Ning Fan scanned the cauldron world with his spirit sense and then his sword pouch. Within the sword pouch, the 5 little girls were meditating with their eyes closed, comprehending the way of the sword. After not seeing each other for 7 years, their auras had grown. In the cauldron world, Mu Weiliang had yet to come out and Zili was still breaking through in the demon cocoon. Withdrawing his spirit sense, Ning Fan shook his head with a smile. These little girls are all busy with their work. With a flash, he left the profound Yin world and returned to the Six Desires sect. Outside the forbidden area of the Six Desires sect, only Yuan Zone was left. 1 year ago, the old ancestor of the Zhao family, the old ancestor of the Wang family and the 2 elders of the Heavenly Ghost were all sent by Ning Fan to various star regions to collect medicine soul stones. The medicine soul stone was a special kind of ore. When an alchemist refined it, it could replenish the consumed medicine soul power. There were too many ancient era's immortal medicines in the extreme Dan sanctuary, and the medicinal qi was too strong. When cultivators entered, they would need to use the power of their medicine soul to resist the medicinal qi at all times. Once the power of one's medicine soul was depleted, it would be difficult for them to resist the Saint Realm's medicine qi. It was extremely dangerous. Therefore, the cultivators who entered the extreme Dan sanctuary would usually carry a large number of medicine soul stones to replenish their medicine soul power at any time. Moreover, there were many secret sealed places in the extreme Dan sanctuary. The seals of the secret places could only be broken by using enough medicine soul stones. In order to enter the sealed secret places to search for opportunities, one would need to spend a large number of medicine soul stones. There were still 10 years before the opening of the extreme Dan sanctuary. Many forces in the eastern sky were purchasing medicine soul stones on a large scale. Without certain connections, one would not be able to buy medicine soul stones at all. Most of the medicine soul stones on the trading planets were already sold out. In the eastern sky, the medicine soul stones were currently in a state where there was a demand but there was no supply. Ning Fan naturally did not have the time to buy medicine soul stones himself. Perhaps Ouyang Muan would prepare some for him. However, he still decided to prepare some himself. The more the better. Anyway, the the matter of purchasing medicine soul stones had already been handed over to his subordinates. There was nothing wrong with preparing a few more. Yuan Zong greets master. As soon as he saw Ning Fan walk out of the forbidden area, Yuan Zong immediately stepped forward and cupped his fists. His expression was full of respect. From being polite and friendly to being respectful and humble, then to being awed and impressed. Yuan Zong's attitude towards Ning Fan changed again and again. In the past, Yuan Zong only acknowledged Ning Fan as his master because of the ancestors' will. Now, even without the ancestors' will, Yuan Zong was also willing to acknowledge Ning Fan as his master. 1 year ago, Ning Fan controlled the Shedding Void puppet and forcefully saved the Six Desires sect from disaster. He unified the Six Desires star region and won Yuan Zong's respect. Dispense with the formalities. How's the collection of medicine soul stones going? Master, Zhao Jian, Wang Ling, Qi Tiangui and Yan Tiangui are gathering medicine soul stones in various star regions. Currently, they have already collected several thousand pieces. The 4 names Yuan Zong mentioned were the names of the 4 true immortals who had surrendered to him. Only several thousand pieces, huh? It's a little too little. Normally, when people enter the Extreme Dan Sanctuary, they would bring more than 100,000 medicine soul stones with them. Within 10 years, they have to prepare at least 100,000 medicine soul stones. Naturally, it's better if they can collect more. 10 years later, all of you will meet me at the place where the Extreme Dan Sanctuary will be opened. Then, hand over the medicine soul stones to me. Ning Fan gave Yuan Zong and the others a strict order, ordering them to collect more than 100,000 medicine soul stones within 10 years. After that, Ning Fan left the Six Desires star region alone. A few months after Ning Fan left, the old ancestor of the Zhao family, Zhao Jian, suddenly sent a message to him. Good news. Good news. I've found an ancient secret place of cultivators by chance in the Stone Creek Star region. There is actually an entire mine of medicine soul stones in it. I've made a preliminary estimation. If we excavate all the medicine soul stones in the mine, we'll be able to excavate at least a few million of them. The total value is more than 300 billion Dao crystals. Yuan Zong, quickly tell this good news to Master. Master has already left the Six Desires star a few months ago. Yuan Zong told Zhao Jian about Ning Fan's order. Master is actually not on the Six Desires star. Fine. Inform the others to come to the Stone Creek Star region. We'll work together and excavate all the medicine soul stones in this mine. 10 years later, we'll certainly give Master a pleasant surprise. We'll also make a great contribution. Ning Fan did not know that as soon as he left the Six Desires star, he had obtained a mine of medicine soul stones that was left behind by an ancient cultivator. The current him was only thinking about stealing incense. In the past few months, Ning Fan had flown past hundreds of low-grade and mid-grade star regions while riding on the Blood Lotus spirit equipment. During that time, he had taken action several times. He used the ghost mask to conceal himself and used the incense demon puppets to steal the incense from the clan temples of 12 Dujin forces and 87 life immortal forces. It was his first time stealing incense on a large scale. Most of the incense he stole were from the living. The total amount of incense from those forces was not even 1/10,000th of the incense from the progenitor of the Yao family. This little amount of incense was far from enough for Ning Fan to break through to the next cultivation level. To second-step cultivators, the power of incense was a great method to increase their cultivation level. Therefore, second-step cultivators in the four heavens would usually build their own golden temples for people to worship and collect incense. These second-step cultivators would take their own incense once every 10 years or even hundreds of years. Thus, they basically could not steal too much incense from the living and could not accumulate any incense at all. Unlike the progenitor of the Yao family who had been dead for millions of years, his incense had also accumulated for millions of years. As expected, I still have to take advantage of the wealth of the dead. Ning Fan sighed softly and decided to steal the incense from the dead. The cultivation world was cruel and selfish. The death of a person was like an extinguished lamp. No matter how revered a person was, he or she might gradually be forgotten after death. It was just like the past sect masters of the Six Desires sect. Most of them had the cultivation base of a true immortal realm cultivator, but none of them had unparalleled achievements. Thus, they could not be revered by others for generations to come. Once they die, their incense would also be cut off. Only the progenitor of the Yao family, who was a heaven-shaking and earth-shattering figure who created the spirit explosion technique and injured an immortal emperor with his empty cultivation base, was still worshipped and revered by the cultivators of the Eastern Heaven for millions of years after his death. Ning Fan summed up his experience in stealing incense. If he wanted to steal, he would steal the incense of the dead. Moreover, he had to steal the incense of the dead who were famous throughout the world when they were alive. Since his incense demon puppet was damaged, Ning Fan could only steal the incense of the dead at the empty shedding realm at most. The old ancestors of the empty shedding realm who were famous throughout the world were basically from various high-grade star regions. From the star region where Ning Fan was now to the 100 Herb star region, he had to pass through a total of 11 high-grade star regions. Among these 11 star regions, only 4 of them had produced a famous empty shedding realm great expert like the progenitor of the Yao family. After the 4 great experts of the empty shedding realm had fallen, their incense had not been cut off until now. Some of them had at least accumulated 2 million years worth of incense, while some of them had accumulated 8 to 9 million years worth of incense. If he wanted to steal, he would steal the incense of the 4 dead experts. Among the 4 of them, the closest one was born in the Quicksand Star region. He was the clan leader of the Quicksand clan in the 476th generation. People call him Daoist Quicksand. Before he died, his cultivation base was already at the peak of the empty shedding realm. The reason why this person's name shook the Eastern Heaven and his prestige did not diminish in the past was very simple. This Daoist Quicksand was one of the few experts who had comprehended the secret technique of time in the history of the Eastern Heaven immortal world. His most famous achievement was reversing 10,000 years of time with a single finger, reducing the cultivation base of an ancient immortal venerable by 10,000 years. The Quicksand Star region, huh? It seems like there are quite a lot of things that I have to do in this star region. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out the star compass of the Quicksand Star region. Then, he flew towards the star region at full speed. Half a year later, Ning Fan had flown past more than 1,000 star regions and arrived at the Quicksand Star region. As soon as he entered the Quicksand Star region, the demonic chi that filled the entire star region instantly made Ning Fan's eyes turn cold. In the starry sky, there were broken limbs and corpses of fallen beasts floating everywhere. Some of the low-grade cultivation planets had already been destroyed by someone. As his thoughts raced, Ning Fan could vaguely guess that a huge change had probably happened in the Quicksand Star region. Far away from him, hundreds of gigantic ice beasts were desperately chasing after a group of cultivators. That group of cultivators had a total of 7 people. All of them were at the life immortal realm. The strongest among them was an old monster at the late human profound realm. He was riding on a gigantic blood-red demonic bird. The 7 of them fled all the way, looking extremely miserable. There were more than 500 giant ice beasts chasing after the 7 of them. Each of them had chi that was comparable to a rogue immortal realm cultivator. Among them, there were 22 gigantic beasts whose chi was comparable to the profound mortal realm. The body of the beast in the lead was nearly as large as a low-grade cultivation planet. Its chi had already reached the ghost profound realm. As soon as the 7 cultivators who were fleeing for their lives saw Ning Fan, they immediately rushed towards him, looking like they wanted to ask for help. Ning Fan frowned. He did not like to get involved in other people's disputes. Suddenly, Ning Fan's gaze fell on the cultivator who was riding on the blood-red demonic bird. Then, he withdrew his expression and flew towards that group of people. He actually had the intention to help them. I owe this person a favor on the Shaozi star in the past. Today, I will help him. Chapter 764. The elderly man who was riding on a blood-red demonic bird was short and skinny. The baleful qi around him was extremely strong. He was none other than Xue Kongzi, who had bought Ning Fan's true spirit blood goose on the Shaozi star. As for the demon pet he was riding, it was none other than the true spirit blood goose that Ning Fan had obtained from his divine chests. In the past, Xue Kongzi had bought Ning Fan's true spirit blood goose at double the price and helped Ning Fan resolve the trouble of the Seven Fiends sect. His domineering attack had severely injured the sect master of the Seven Fiends sect. After that, Xue Kongzi borrowed the strength of the real blood goose and started to cultivate in seclusion to break through to the late human profound realm. The cultivation art he cultivated was closely related to the true spirit blood goose. He was originally at the middle stage of the human profound realm, and he was only half a step away from the late stage. With the help of the true spirit blood goose, it was only a matter of time before he broke through to the late stage after several decades of secluded cultivation. He was originally a devil. Wherever there was a fortuitous opportunity, he would fight for it. He had come to the quicksand star field this time to look for opportunities, but he had never expected that not long after Xue Kongzi had arrived in the quicksand star field, the quicksand star field would undergo a shocking change. Within the quicksand starry sea, there were countless celestial mountains. One day, a celestial mountain suddenly collapsed, revealing the hundreds of thousands of divine treasures beneath it. A life immortal recklessly cut open one of the divine treasures to see what was inside. Who would have thought that all of this would lead to a massive wave of demons? Sealed in the divine treasure was an ancient ferocious beast with enlightenment realm cultivation. Once the beast woke up, it swallowed the life immortal who had cut open the divine treasures. It then cut open all the divine treasures and released hundreds of thousands of powerful demon beasts. Half of Quicksand Galaxy was destroyed by the wave of demons. The Quicksand Star Ocean had become the territory of the demonic beasts. The strongest force in the Quicksand Galaxy, the Quicksand Clan, was currently gathering their elites to launch a counterattack against the demon wave, but the results were minimal. The current Quicksand Patriarch was a cultivator at the early stage of crossing Truth Realm. Including the Patriarch of the Quicksand Tribe, there were only 4 true immortals gathered in the Quicksand Tribe, and all of them were at the early stage of crossing Truth. On the other side of the demon tide, there were more than 10 vicious beasts of the Dujin realm. Up until now, the human race had been at a disadvantage in this battle between the human race and the demon race. Unfortunately, Xue Kongzi had been dragged into this storm. He had accepted the reward from the Quicksand Tribe and agreed to help them fight against the demon tide. However, he didn't expect that he would be so unlucky. In the first battle, they were ambushed by a large number of ferocious beasts. More than half of the team died, and only 7 people survived, including Xue Kongzi. Xue Kongzi's injuries were not light. Otherwise, with his ferocious personality, he would not have been willing to be chased by a horde of demons. He would have at least retaliated. Seeing that the group of beasts was about to catch up to him, Xue Kongzi could not help but look up to the sky and sigh. Am I, Xue Kongzi, going to die in the quicksand star field? While he was lamenting, Xue Kongzi suddenly noticed a human cultivator standing in the starry sky not far away. Although he couldn't see through this person's aura, he could roughly tell that this person was a life celestial. As a result, Xue Kongzi could not help but want to ask this person for help. The 6 life immortals who were escaping with him also wanted to ask for help. If it was in the past, Xue Kongzi and the other old monsters would certainly not trust a stranger easily and ask for help rashly. Now that the demon tide had engulfed the entire quicksand star field, all the humans in the star field could be considered as companions. In such a critical moment, the cultivators trusted each other more than before. Xue Kongzi wanted to ask this person for help. Even though the other party might just be an early mortal profound realm cultivator, he would still be of great help. In times of crisis, one more person would mean one more portion of strength. One more person would mean one more chance of survival. As soon as he made up his mind, Shui Kongzi and the others ran towards Ning Fan's direction with all their might, as if they saw a life-saving straw when they were about to drown. Just as the 7 life immortals were about to ask Ning Fan for help, he frowned and prepared to leave this place and stay out of this matter. When Shui Kongzi saw this, he smiled bitterly and swallowed all the words he wanted to ask for help back into his stomach. The cultivation world was selfish and cruel in the first place. Who would be willing to risk being devoured by hundreds of ferocious beasts just to save a few strangers? The other 6 life immortals were all severely injured. Their qi had already weakened. When they saw that Ning Fan wanted to escape alone, all of their faces were filled with despair. Commander Shui, what should we do now? Our magic power has already been depleted. I'm afraid we won't be able to run far before they catch up to us. Let's just fight to the death with these evil creatures. A middle-aged scholar's eyes glinted with ferocious light. He did not plan to run anymore. Since they could not run away, they could only fight to the death and find a way to survive. The one who was addressed as Commander Shui was none other than Shui Kongzi. Today, he had received the reward from the Quicksand clan and became a foreign elder of the clan. Now, he could lead a group of cultivators to fight against the demon tide. Fine. Since it's useless to run anymore, let's just fight to the death. If the 7 of us use the immortal breaking technique at the same time, we can suppress all our injuries in a short period of time and kill these evil creatures with all our might. Perhaps, we might even have a chance to escape. Unfortunately, the price of using the immortal breaking technique is too great. Once we use this technique, we will fall back to the void fragmentation realm. However, compared to death, a drop in cultivation level is nothing. Shui Kongzi's eyes flashed with killing intent. He abruptly turned the true spirit blood goose around and turned around with the other 6 life immortal realm cultivators, preparing to face the demon tide head-on. At this moment, the 500+ ferocious beasts who were chasing after Ning Fan suddenly seemed to have seen something extremely terrifying. Their eyes were filled with terror and they retreated several tens of thousands of zhang away. Some of the ferocious beasts could not suppress the fear in their hearts. They roared at the sky. Their roars were trembling uncontrollably and carried unconcealable fear. They were fearful. Of course, they were not afraid of Shui Kongzi and the other 6 injured life immortal realm cultivators. Instead, they were afraid of the white-robed young man who was approaching them step by step. As soon as they saw the beasts retreating, Shui Kongzi and the others were shocked and turned their heads around. Only then did the 7 of them realize that Ning Fan who wanted to leave this place just now had changed his mind for some reason and came to their aid. However, what Shui Kongzi and the others could not understand was what Ning Fan did to make the beasts feel such a strong sense of danger and make them retreat with fear. Even though the beasts had temporarily retreated, they did not really leave. They were still watching. Shui Kongzi and the others could not see through Ning Fan's ferocious aura, but the demonic beasts could sense a strong sense of danger from him based on their instincts. Intuition told the beasts that this white-robed youth who had suddenly appeared was not to be trifled with. However, the beast horde had received an order to kill Shui Kongzi and the others. They wouldn't dare to return to the Quicksand Star Ocean without accomplishing this order. Even though they knew that Ning Fan was not someone to be trifled with, none of the beasts dared to disobey his orders or leave the battlefield without permission. Due to Ning Fan's aura force, none of the beasts dared to attack Shui Kongzi and the others. Shui Kongzi and the others heaved a sigh of relief. One after another, they cupped their fists at Ning Fan. "Thank you for your help, fellow Taoist. May I know how to address you?" The tone of the 7 life immortal realm cultivators was very polite. Even though they could not see through Ning Fan's exact cultivation base, they could tell from the way the beasts were afraid of Ning Fan that his abilities were not weak. Thus, they could not underestimate him. Fellow Taoist Xue Kongzi, do you not recognize me anymore? Ning Fan's eyes glanced past the other 6 life immortal realm cultivators and only looked at Xue Kongzi. Fellow Taoist, your surname is Ning. I do know a few friends with the surname Ning, but you don't seem to be one of them. Xue Kongzi's eyes flashed with vigilance. Obviously, the white-robed young man in front of him knew him. However, Xue Kongzi did not recognize this person among the friends he knew. He had quite a lot of enemies. Could it be that this white-robed young man in front of him is my enemy? If he really is my enemy, I'm afraid that I, Xue Kongzi, will really have to give up my life here since there are wolves in front of me and tigers behind me. Xue Kongzi did not recognize that Ning Fan was the person who sold him the true spirit blood goose on Shaoza Star. Not long after he obtained the true spirit blood goose, he went into seclusion to break through to the late human profound realm. Thus, he did not know that Ning Fan had a bounty of 10 billion yuan from the Pill sect, destroyed the Yao sect star region, joined the Slaughter Palace and many other things. Naturally, his impression of Ning Fan was already blurred. He did not pay attention to this junior at all. In the past, when he helped Ning Fan punish the 7 Fiend sect, it was completely out of a sudden interest. He did not expect anything in return. He did not remember meeting Ning Fan at all. Fellow Taoist Xue, have you forgotten? I was the one who sold you the true spirit blood goose. Ning Fan smiled and reminded him. As soon as Ning Fan mentioned the true spirit blood goose, Xue Kongzi suddenly slapped his forehead and remembered. So it's you. Then, Xue Kongzi looked at Ning Fan in disbelief. He could not believe that the junior who had yet to cultivate to the peak void fragmentation realm in the past was already an immortal now. Fellow Taoist Xue, you helped me punish the 7 Fiend sect in the past. Today, I will return the favor. As soon as he finished speaking, Ning Fan stepped forward and walked past the crowd towards the group of ferocious beasts. Judging from the situation, he was actually going to fight against 500 ferocious beasts alone. The expressions of the 7 life immortal realm experts including Xue Kongzi changed. They did not think that Ning Fan could fight against the group of ferocious beasts alone. Especially Xue Kongzi. After confirming Ning Fan's identity, he only thought that Ning Fan's cultivation base was at the early human profound realm. In his impression, Ning Fan's speed of cultivation from the 7th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm to the early human profound realm in less than 100 years was already heaven-defying. It was impossible for him to reach the mid-human profound realm, let alone the late human profound realm. Among the group of ferocious beasts, there were 22 life immortal realm ferocious beasts and one of them was even a profound ghost realm ferocious beast. Ning Fan wanting to fight against the group of ferocious beasts alone was undoubtedly an act of hitting a rock with an egg. Just as Xue Kongzi was about to dissuade Ning Fan, his eyes suddenly widened and he stared at Ning Fan in disbelief. The other 6 life immortal realm experts were also looking at Ning Fan in astonishment. Their eyes were filled with joy. At this moment, Ning Fan's early ghost profound realm aura force spread in all directions without any reservation. This fellow Taoist is actually a ghost profound realm expert. Now, we are really saved. The other 6 life immortal realm experts were overjoyed. Ghost profound realm. It's actually ghost profound realm. How is it possible for him to advance from the 7th void fragmentation realm to the ghost profound realm in less than 100 years? The astonishment in Xue Kongzi's eyes was not something that the life immortal realm experts beside him could understand. Xue Kongzi had spent tens of thousands of years of hard work to advance from the early human profound realm to the mid-human profound realm. Then, he spent another tens of thousands of years to advance to the late human profound realm. However, Ning Fan had advanced from the 7th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm to the early ghost profound realm within 100 years. This kind of speed made him speechless. Xue Kongzi looked at Ning Fan's back with a complicated expression. The junior who cut the stone for him in the past had now left him far behind. Heh! Early Ghost Profound Realm. He, Shui Kongzi, did not even know if he could reach the early Ghost Profound Realm in his lifetime. Ning Fan walked towards the group of beasts. Every time he took a step forward, the beasts would take a step back in panic. Each of the gigantic beasts was terrifyingly huge, especially the early Ghost Profound Realm ferocious beast. Its body was as huge as a low-grade cultivation planet. When it moved, it was like the stars were changing their orbits, producing loud rumbling sounds in the starry sky. Each of the ferocious beasts looked at Ning Fan with instinctive fear. To them, Ning Fan was really too dangerous. However, they could not retreat. They must complete their mission and kill Shui Kongzi and the others. I have no intention of getting involved in the battle between the human race and the demon race. If all of you retreat now, I can spare your lives. Ning Fan said indifferently. Roar. As soon as the group of beasts heard Ning Fan's words, they raised their heads and roared furiously. They were showing their determination. They would not retreat. They would rather die in battle than retreat. I'm sorry. I have underestimated you. A true demon has an indomitable spirit. Why would they be afraid of death? Chi Ning Fan tapped the ground with the tip of his feet. Suddenly, a strong aura force burst out from his body and he dashed towards the group of beasts. His eyes were as calm as still water. He did not have any grudges against these demonic beasts. He treated humans and demons equally without any prejudice. The reason why he decided to kill these demonic beasts here had nothing to do with race or good or evil. It was just to save Shui Kongzi and return him a favor. They just had different standpoints. Therefore, he and these ferocious beasts were enemies. It was just like an eagle and a snake, a tiger and a deer, wolf and a rabbit. The word enemy was only about standpoints. It had nothing to do with right or wrong. Seeing Ning Fan charging towards them, the group of beasts opened their huge mouths and breathed out cold air. All of a sudden, the starry sky within billions of li was covered with frost. When Shui Kongzi and the other life immortal realm cultivators saw the incoming cold air, their faces turned pale with fright. Their group of 20 life immortal realm cultivators was hit by this cold chi ability. That was why 13 of them died and 7 of them were injured. They were instantly defeated. Even a mid-ghost profound realm cultivator would be severely injured if they were to face this cold chi ability that froze the starry sky. The 7 of them were already heavily injured and their magic power was completely exhausted. If they were to be attacked by the cold air again, they would definitely die. While they were still in shock, a black wall of fire suddenly rose into the sky and surrounded the 7 of them, isolating them from the cold air. Through the gaps of the fire wall, Shui Kongzi and the others were shocked to see that Ning Fan was actually unscathed despite standing under the layers of cold chi. With Ning Fan's great 5 elements physique, how could he be afraid of the cold chi of a group of beasts? Ning Fan lifted his foot and stomped on the ground, shattering all the ice in the sky. Then, with a sway of his body, he transformed into a 270,000 zhang tall white-robed giant. As he swung his fist, the fierce beasts were smashed into meat paste one after another. With a stomp of his foot, he trampled the clamoring beasts to death. Ning Fan's ancient devil cultivation base was already at the 4th heavenly layer of the Si Chen realm. The strength of his ancient devil physical body was even stronger than ordinary 5th severance body cultivators. The 5th severance of the immortal body corresponded to the early stage of the profound spirit realm. Just by relying on his physical body, Ning Fan was already strong enough to sweep away all early ghost profound realm experts. Bang! 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 Be it rogue immortal realm ferocious beasts or life immortal realm ferocious beasts, none of them could withstand the might of his punches and kicks. Countless ferocious beasts roared and roared. Even though they were obviously afraid, they still rushed towards Ning Fan and breathed out cold air. Although he was afraid, he still fought. One after another, the ferocious beasts died under Ning Fan's punches. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, all 500 ferocious beasts were dead, leaving only the early Ghost Profound Realm ferocious beast. His body was as huge as a low-grade cultivation planet. In front of him, Ning Fan, who was 70,000 zhang tall, was like a tiny human. Ning Fan leaped into the sky and punched the top of the ferocious beast's head. With just one punch, the incomparably huge body of the ferocious beast immediately began to fall apart. Amidst the heavy rumbling sounds, it exploded into a bloody mist. Killing with one punch. Chapter 765. That profound ghost ferocious beast was killed by Ning Fan with a single punch. The shockwave from the explosion of its physical body was comparable to the self-detonation of a cultivation planet. Boundless waves of chi were immediately set off in the galaxy. More than 500 monster cores and 6 Dao fruits slowly floated above the river of stars. The sky was filled with the corpses of ferocious beasts, including Shui Kongzi, the 7 immortals who were saved sucked in a breath of cold air. They were astounded by Ning Fan's formidable combat power. After a long time, the 6 life immortal realm cultivators finally put away the astonishment on their faces. Then, they forced a flattering smile and walked towards Ning Fan. They wanted to curry favor with Ning Fan. Befriending an expert like Ning Fan would bring them great benefits. Shui Kongzi's eyes flickered as a true spirit blood goose blocked their path and shook his head. Fellow Daoist Ning seems to be thinking about something. Let's not disturb him for the time being, Blood Void said. At this moment, Ning Fan's back was facing the life immortals. He just quietly looked at the corpses of the beasts that filled the starry sky and remained silent for a long time. In his eyes, there was a trace of respect. His body gave off a desolate feeling. The 500 ferocious beasts were courageous. Even though they were afraid of Ning Fan and knew that they would die for sure, they still dared to fight. Shui Kongzi and the others were also brave. Even though they knew that they could not escape death, they still dared to turn around and face the 500 beasts together. This was war. It was hard to say who was right and who was wrong. It was just that they had different standpoints. In the end, the winner was always the king, and the loser was the bandit. The difference between the emperor's army and the bandit was only 10%. Since Ning Fan and Shui Kongzi were old acquaintances, he was destined to stand on Shui Kongzi's side once he gets involved in this dispute. All of this had nothing to do with right or wrong. Facing these ferocious beasts who did not retreat even though they were weak and cowardly, Ning Fan felt respect for them. That was why he spoke up and was willing to spare these ferocious beasts' lives. Unfortunately, these ferocious beasts were too persistent in completing their assignments, and they were determined to kill Shui Kongzi and the others. They would rather die than change their intentions. Thus, Ning Fan would no longer show any mercy. Once they became enemies, they could not be lenient. But in the end, he had some respect for these beasts that could not even speak. How many people in the world would rather die than surrender when the enemy's army was at their gates? Integrity wasn't something that could be said with words. It was something that could be exchanged with one's life. Master likes them very much. Why don't you bestow them as fu? Demons that refuse to submit even in death are all qualified to be fu. As long as you bestow enough, you can condense. My fu. Clans. Wheel is different from other demon clans. There are 2 ways to condense. It hurts so much. I can't say any more. Woo woo woo. A crisp voice came from one of the demon cocoons in the cauldron world. The one who spoke was Zili, who was in her cocoon. She seemed like she wanted to tell Ning Fan some information. However, due to the obstruction of the Sin Seal, she was forcefully interrupted if she did not get to the crucial point. After just a few sentences, Zili's sea of consciousness was tormented by the Sin Mark to the point that she wanted to die. Even with her cold and strong personality, she was still whimpering from the pain of the sin mark. Don't talk about the secrets of the Fuli race anymore. Wait until I obtain the method to remove the sin seal in the future and remove the sin seal for you, then you can tell me the secrets of the Fuli race. This sin seal is really dangerous. Ning Fan's eyes turned gentle and filled with concern. Zili was also a silly little girl. She was at the critical moment of her secluded cultivation. Why should she mention the secrets of the Fuli race? Zili did not know the method to remove the sin seal, and neither did Ning Fan. Despite having the ancestral blood of the Fuli race, he still could not remove the sin seal on Zili's body. If the sin seal is not removed, she would not be able to mention any secrets of the Fuli race. She could not even think about it. If she forcefully reveals the secrets of the Fuli race, she would be killed by the sin seal. No matter what, Zili was raised by Ning Fan step by step. How could Ning Fan bear to let this little girl die from the backlash of the sin seal? Before removing the sin seal, Ning Fan would not force Zili to reveal any secrets of the Fuli race for his own benefit. If he could obtain the method to remove the sin seal of the Fuli race, he would certainly do his best to help Zili remove the sin seal. I just want to help Master condense the sin seal. Hiss. It hurts. I don't dare to say it. Zili said pitifully. I know that little Li Air has good intentions. Even though your words are intermittent, I can understand some of them. Little Li Air wants me to confer the title of Fuli race to them, right? You don't have to answer me. You don't have to think about my question. Don't let the sin seal act up. Ning Fan comforted Zili for a while and coaxed her to obediently spin a cocoon to cultivate. Inside his heart, Zili's words were echoing over and over again. Zili could not complete the two words Fuli. Similarly, she could not complete the two words spirit wheel. As for the method to condense the Fuli spirit wheel, it was even more impossible for her to mention it. The spirit wheel of the immemorial Dark Sparrow clan was called the Dark Wheel. The spirit wheel of the Fuli race was called the Li wheel. From Zili's words, Ning Fan vaguely understood that there were two methods to condense the Li wheel. One of them was probably to search for the ancestral object of the Fuli race and obtain the Li wheel through a sacrificial ritual. The other method was the secret method that Zili wanted to secretly tell Ning Fan just now. By conferring the title of Fuli to the demons who refused to submit even in death, he could obtain the power of the Li wheel. Ning Fan could vaguely guess Zili's intention. However, he did not know how to confer the power of the Li wheel on the fallen demons at all. It was just like how he did not know how to plant the seed of Sin Seal on the Fuli race and demoted them to Sin Li. It was also like how he did not know how to remove the Sin Seal of Sin Li. Demon conferment, seed of sin and release of sin were probably the most profound secret techniques of the Fuli race. Ning Fan's eyes flickered as he looked at the corpses of the beasts that filled the sky. He indeed did not know how to confer the demons, but he could guess the purpose of doing so. There was no such thing as the Fuli race in the first place. Zido pacified the chaotic world, but he had killed too many people. Especially when he was slaughtering the two immortal Jade Realm demons, he encountered a group of demons who were not afraid of death. In that battle, all the demons who refused to submit even in death were conferred the title of Fuli by Zido. Fuli was a kind of glory, a kind of commendation, and also a kind of redemption. Immortals had eternal life. Therefore, after death, they would die forever and there would be no more samsara. Fuli was a kind of samsara in disguise. It kept the souls of the fallen demons and allowed them to be reborn in the world. As for the ferocious beasts whose cultivation base had yet to reach the second step, they could enter samsara again after death. As their souls were not destroyed by Ning Fan, they did not need his redemption. Therefore, if I confer the title of Fuli, it would certainly confer the title on the demons who were at the second step and above. So, demon conferment was actually to redeem the souls of the second step demon cultivators. Ning Fan looked at the demon cores, beast corpses and Dao fruits that were floating in the starry sky thoughtfully. With a wave of his hand, he kept the 6 Dao fruits. Then, he collected all the demon cores and corpses of the rogue immortal realm demonic beasts and kept them in his cauldron world. Only the demon cores and corpses of the 22 life immortal realm ferocious beasts were left behind, allowing them to continue floating in the starry sky. With a thought, the purple star in Ning Fan's left eye shone faintly. He secretly activated the power of the ancestral blood of the Fu Li race. At this moment, Ning Fan seemed to be able to see spots of starlight disappearing at the place where the 22 life immortal realm ferocious beasts had fallen. Those were the soul fragments of the 22 fallen ferocious beasts. The souls of the rest of the rogue immortal realm ferocious beasts would return to samsara after death. However, the souls of the second step ferocious beasts could not return to samsara. They could only dissipate. This was what it meant to die of longevity. It was said that only a few people with special magic eyes could see the scene of the soul fragments disappearing. However, Ning Fan actually saw it. He vaguely guessed that the reason why he could see the soul fragments was because of the special ability of the Fu Li eye. Demon Conferment. Redemption, the two words demon conferment and redemption, kept echoing in Ning Fan's mind. Seeing that the soul fragments of the 22 ferocious beasts were disappearing bit by bit, Ning Fan no longer hesitated. He raised his hand and casually grabbed those soul fragments. Condense. Xue Kongzi and the others were stunned by Ning Fan's action. They did not have the ancestral blood of the Fu Li race nor did they have the few special magic eyes. Thus, they naturally could not see the scene of Ning Fan condensing the soul fragments. They could not see that after Ning Fan grabbed those soul fragments that were about to disappear, they actually condensed into an illusory purple-black ring. Above that purple-black ring, there were 22 rays of light floating. Those 22 rays of light were the souls of the 22 life immortal realm ferocious beasts that had yet to disappear. They were intercepted by Ning Fan in the illusory ring. In the Fu Li race, this ability was called Demon Conferment Wheel. It was a great ability that could only be used by the Fu Li race who had the ancestral blood. It could intercept the souls of dead demons so that they would not be abandoned by the samsara cycle. This was the strongest ability that only the members of the Fu Li race possessed. It is said that when this ability is comprehended to the extreme, it could not only intercept the souls of demons but also the souls of deities and devils. In fact, it could even intercept the souls of all living beings in heaven and earth. The Li Wheel seemed to be trying to construct a samsara cycle to accommodate those who were abandoned by the samsara cycle. If the Li Wheel is powerful enough, it could even resurrect the remnant souls that were contained in it. If the Li Wheel was strong enough, it could even resurrect the remnant souls that were contained in it. Ning Fan was not aware of these secrets. Xue Kongzi and the others could not see the process of Ning Fan condensing the illusory spirit wheel. However, the true spirit blood goose faintly sensed something. Its body trembled and it instinctively became fearful of Ning Fan. At this moment, the aura force of Ning Fan's demon blood was extremely restrained. The true spirit blood goose, on the other hand, could feel the terrifying aura force hidden in Ning Fan's body. It was unknown what level the aura force was at but it was enough to make it tremble. Ning Fan looked at the illusory spirit wheel in his palm and the 22 light spots on it. He seemed to have understood something but at the same time, he did not. It was just the illusory spirit wheel. It was not the real spirit wheel. It could not display any of its abilities and it might even shatter with just a touch. It was too weak. This illusory spirit wheel was not enough to be called the real Fu Li spirit wheel, Li Wheel. However, there was one thing that Ning Fan understood. As long as he continued to borrow the power of the ancestral blood of the Fu Li race to contain the remnant souls of the second step demon race who would rather die than surrender, this illusory spirit wheel could become real bit by bit. In the end, this illusory spirit wheel would turn into the real Fu Li spirit wheel. Hiss. False spirit wheel. Shui Kongzi and the other life immortal realm experts were shocked. How could they imagine that Ning Fan was actually powerful enough to comprehend the cultivation method of the false spirit wheel from a pile of dead beasts' corpses? There were false ancient gods and false ancient devils in the four heavens. There were also false ancient demons in the demon spirit land. Since the demon race had lost their spirits, they would never be able to cultivate a true spirit wheel. Shui Kongzi and the others looked at the illusory spirit wheel in Ning Fan's palm and accidentally thought that it was the false spirit wheel of the demon race. After all, the illusory spirit wheel did not have any abilities at first glance. Who would think that it was the legendary great ability, ancient demon spirit wheel? Hearing the exclamations of the people behind him, Ning Fan made a move in his mind and kept the illusory spirit wheel into his body. Looking at the demon cores and corpses of the 22 life immortal realm ferocious beasts, he seemed to have understood something. It seemed like he did not need to use these demon cores and corpses to keep the remnant souls of these ferocious beasts. Since that was the case, Ning Fan simply kept the remaining demon cores and corpses into his cauldron world and gave them to Zili. It was already an extra favor for him to accept the remnant souls of these dead ferocious beasts. It was impossible for him to be so generous as to not accept their demon cores and corpses. If one day, he truly learns the demon sealing ability of the Fu Li clan, he would bestow the remnant souls in his spirit wheel with a new identity. Fu Li. Before that, those remnant souls could only stay in the illusory spirit wheel for the time being. Fellow Taoist Ning's innate talent is really terrifying. You actually managed to condense the false spirit wheel of the demon race while still being a human. Amazing. Amazing. The few life immortal realm experts quickly flattered him. Flattery would never work. I was just lucky. Ning Fan did not linger on this topic for too long. When the few old monsters saw that Ning Fan did not want to talk about it, they tactfully changed the topic. Very soon, the topic shifted to the incident in Quicksand Star region. Shui Kongzi and the others told Ning Fan about the incident in Quicksand Star region as well as the ambush that they were ambushed. As soon as they talked about being ambushed by a group of demonic beasts, the eyes of the few old monsters immediately turned cold and they said indignantly. This time, a total of 19 life immortal realm experts were under Commander Shui Kongzi's command. We followed him to carry out a secret mission. Originally, we were prepared to destroy one of the strongholds of the demonic beasts. However, we didn't expect that we would be ambushed by the demonic beasts not long after we left the Quicksand clan. With just a single attack, 13 of us were killed and 7 of us were injured. Humph. Just as we left the Quicksand clan, we were ambushed by the demonic beasts. In my opinion, there must be a spy of the demon race in the Quicksand clan. Our whereabouts have been exposed. As far as I know, out of the 10 teams of the Quicksand clan that were carrying out a secret mission, 4 of them have already been ambushed by the demonic beasts. In the past, I heard from others that there is a spy of the demon race in the Quicksand clan. At first, I thought that it was a rumor spread by the 13 demon lords to make us anxious and lose our footing. Humph. Now, I finally know that the matter about the spy is mostly true. If there isn't a spy, how could we be ambushed as soon as we leave the Quicksand clan when our whereabouts are so secretive? Another old monster added. Commander Shui, who do you think is most likely to be the spy of the demon race in the Quicksand clan? I think that Taoist heavenly dog who has a half-demon body is a little suspicious. He has a peak mortal profound realm cultivation base and he was in charge of issuing the mission. If there really is a spy in the Quicksand clan, that person is highly suspicious. On the other hand, I think that old monster Jian who likes to rear demon pets is a little suspicious, That old monster Black Mountain who wears a spiritual cloak and never shows his face all day long is also a little suspicious. After experiencing a life and death situation, the 7 life immortal realm experts hated the so-called spy to their bones. They were eager to find that person and cut him into pieces. Ning Fan did not say a single word from the beginning to the end. He did not participate in their discussion. Whether there was really a spy of the demon race in the Quicksand clan or not, he did not know and he did not care. He only had two goals in coming to the Quicksand Galaxy. One was to infiltrate the Quicksand tribe and obtain Taoist Quicksand's incense. The second was to enter the Quicksand Sea of Stars, find the secret place of quicksand that Lu Xian had discovered by chance, and enter the ancient god's cave of time. Unfortunately, according to the information provided by Xue Kongzi and the others, because of the chaos in the Quicksand star field, the Quicksand clan had already moved their ancestral temple, treasury, and other important forbidden areas into a broken world called the Quicksand Realm. Even the headquarters of the counterattack against the Demon Tide, the Monster Exterminating League, was moved from Quicksand Star to Quicksand Realm. The Quicksand Realm had now become the headquarters of the anti-demon cultivators. Cultivators who were not from the Quicksand clan or the Monster Suppressing League were not allowed to enter. If Ning Fan wanted to steal the Joss Flames, his top priority now was to find a way to sneak into the Flowing Sand Realm, only then could he achieve his first goal. The Quicksand Sanctuary was located in the Quicksand Star Ocean, which was located in the northern region of the Quicksand Star region. Now, it had become the lair of the Monster Beast Army. It was said that there were 13 true Crossing Realm demon cultivators guarding the lair. In the entire Demon Tide army, only these 13 true Crossing Realm demon cultivators could transform into humans. The rest of them were in their beast forms. These 13 people called themselves the 13 Demon Lords. Among them, the weakest one was at the early True Crossing Realm while the strongest one was at the peak True Crossing Realm. When the 13 Demon Lords joined forces, even Shi Kong would have to retreat a little. Even if Ning Fan had the ancient devil puppet, he would not dare to barge into the demon lair of the Star Ocean rashly. It would be extremely dangerous. If he were to sneak in, Ning Fan did not know the exact location of the ancient god's cave of time. He only had a rough idea of its location. It would take him some time to find it. Unfortunately, the Quicksand Star Ocean was surrounded by a poisonous mist. In a month, the poisonous mist would only dissipate for 2 hours. That poisonous mist was extremely powerful. Even Shi Kong would not dare to barge into the sea of poisonous mist. As for the invisibility effect, it would only last for 2 hours. He could only do it once every 10 days. There were too many restrictions and dangers in order to properly investigate the whereabouts of the ancient god's cave of time in the Quicksand Star Ocean. Thus, he needed to make a good plan. Fellow Taoist Ning, are you passing by the Quicksand Star region or? Xue Kongzi suddenly asked. I have some goals that can only be achieved in the Quicksand Star region. Unfortunately, the Quicksand Star region has gone through such an unforeseen event. Ning Fan pretended to sigh. As soon as he heard that Ning Fan had something to do in the Quicksand Star region, Xue Kongzi's eyes lit up. Fellow Taoist Ning, are you interested in joining our Demon Exterminating Alliance? You can stay in the Quicksand Star region with us for a while and conspire on how to eliminate the demon race in the secret area of the Quicksand Star region. With your strength, if you join the Demon Exterminating Alliance, you can at least become the vice leader. The Demon Exterminating Alliance had 4 leaders. They were 4 true immortals including the clan leader of the Quicksand Star region. Currently, there were 12 vice leaders. All of them were old monsters at the late Ghost Profound realm or above. In Xue Kongzi's opinion, Ning Fan's strength was more than enough to become a vice leader. If Ning Fan joins them, the Demon Exterminating Alliance would become stronger and the hope of eliminating the Demon Tide would increase. Thus, why not? Join the Demon Exterminating Alliance. I'm used to traveling alone and I don't really like being tied down. Ning Fan pretended to be considering. Fellow Taoist Ning, I suppose you're reluctant to leave the Quicksand Star region because you heard that ancient heartbeat, right? Xue Kongzi suddenly asked using telepathy. The ancient heartbeat? Ning Fan's heart skipped a beat but his expression remained calm and indifferent. Oh. Fellow Taoist Ning doesn't know about this. Just one day before the demon horde appeared, the sound of a heartbeat spread throughout the entire quicksand galaxy. I heard it very clearly. That heartbeat definitely came from the direction of the quicksand star region. It carried an incomparably ancient chi which contained the boundless great Tao. Many immortal cultivators in the quicksand star region heard that sound. These fellow Taoists and I are reluctant to leave the quicksand star region and are willing to risk our lives to assist the quicksand tribe in exterminating the demon race. It's all so that we can explore the quicksand star ocean after exterminating the demon race. If I'm not mistaken, that ancient heartbeat is definitely a great opportunity. Xue Kongzi looked at Ning Fan and was greatly surprised when he saw that Ning Fan did not seem to know about the ancient heartbeat at all. Fellow Taoist, aren't you staying in the quicksand star region to investigate that heartbeat? Yes. I'm staying in the quicksand star region for other matters. I see. No matter what fellow Taoist is planning, you should join the Demon Exterminating Alliance and stay in the quicksand star region for now. As long as the demon tide isn't eliminated, the quicksand star region won't be peaceful. We will have to be on tenterhooks whenever we travel. If fellow Taoist is willing to join the Demon Exterminating Alliance, I'm willing to recommend you. Xue Kongzi said with lingering fear. Alright. If that's the case, I'll listen to fellow Taoist and temporarily join the Demon Exterminating Alliance and stay in the quicksand star region. Ning Fan's eyes flickered. There were too many uncertain factors in the quicksand star region. It was better for him to sneak into the quicksand star region first and steal Taoist Lu Sha's incense. Plop. 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 Just as Ning Fan agreed to Xue Kongzi's suggestion, a heartbeat that sounded like it came from the ancient times suddenly spread across the entire quicksand star region. At this moment, countless cultivators who heard the heartbeat were filled with shock and joy. The moment Ning Fan heard the heartbeat, his heart began to beat rhythmically without him realizing it. His ancient god blood also felt like it was about to boil. This is the heartbeat of an ancient god. What kind of powerful ancient god is it exactly? It can actually make the heartbeat sound spread across the entire high-grade star region. Chapter 766. It was just a heartbeat, but it caused the entire star region to tremble in an instant. The tremor was extremely weak, but it was real. Ning Fan felt that his cultivation base had increased by a few years just by listening to a heartbeat. The heartbeat suddenly disappeared, and the entire star domain stopped trembling, as if the trembling had never existed. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He frowned and remained silent. At the moment when the heartbeat stopped, Ning Fan clearly heard the murmur of an ancient god. It was a murmur that only ancient gods who possessed the heart aperture could hear. Save me, in that heartbeat, there was actually a cry for help mixed in. A cry for help, that's the voice. Fellow Taoist Ning, did you hear it? This voice. This voice. Xue Kongzi's eyes were filled with excitement. When he heard the heartbeat, his cultivation base also improved slightly. Even though it was not as much as Ning Fan's improvement, it was enough to excite him. Just listening to the heartbeat could greatly improve one's cultivation base. If one were to get closer to the heartbeat and listen to it a few more times, tens of times or even hundreds of times, what kind of improvement would one's cultivation base receive? If he could find the source of the heartbeat, he might obtain a great fortune and improve his cultivation base rapidly. In order to find the great fortune hidden behind the heartbeat, Xue Kongzi resolutely chose to stay in the quicksand star region. Even though he knew that the tide of demons was dangerous, he still wanted to help the quicksand clan fight against it. Most of the other cultivators who chose to join the Demon Extermination Alliance had the same thought. They were willing to take the risk to stay in the quicksand clan for their own fortune. However, they could not hear the cry for help hidden under the heartbeat. Ning Fan's eyes gradually became dark. He was not as surprised as Xue Kongzi and the others. He was deep in thought, trying to figure out what that cry for help sounded like. The heartbeat of the ancient god resounded across the entire star region. The mysterious cry for help hidden under the heartbeat, the sudden collapse of the immortal mountain, the sudden appearance of countless divine treasures and the sudden appearance of the demon tide, the nest of the demon tide was in the quicksand star ocean. That was the place where the heartbeat of the ancient god came from. This demon tide doesn't seem to be as simple as it seems. Ning Fan frowned deeply. Perhaps the ancient god's cave of time was not just a fortune. Perhaps there was some unknown danger hidden. What does fellow Taoist Ning think about that ancient heartbeat? Is it a great opportunity? Shui Kongzi asked with a smile. Just listening to this heartbeat is enough to increase our Tao skills, the opportunity really isn't small. However, the dangers might not be small either. Ning Fan did not tell Shui Kongzi the second half of his sentence. He was acquainted with Shui Kongzi, but their relationship was not so good that he could entrust his life to him. He would not tell Shui Kongzi that he was an ancient god and could hear the murmurs of ancient gods. When necessary, he would remind Shui Kongzi to be careful of the quicksand star ocean, but he couldn't tell Shui Kongzi all his secrets. They continued to chat for a while. Most of them were expressing their gratitude and compliments to Ning Fan. Then, Shui Kongzi and the others brought Ning Fan back to the Quicksand clan. Currently, the Quicksand Galaxy was split into two. The northern region was controlled by the demons, while the southern region was the human race's refuge. The direction where Ning Fan entered the Quicksand Star region was actually the border between the north and south regions. Everyone was flying towards the southern region. As for the specific direction, they would have to follow the direction of the star chart. As they went deeper into the southern region, they could no longer see the half-destroyed cultivation planets and the corpses of humans and beasts that filled the sky. Along the way, void fragmentation realm experts of the Demon Suppression Alliance would be patrolling. As soon as they saw Shui Kongzi and the others, they immediately cupped their fists and saluted. Even though Ning Fan and Shui Kongzi concealed their life immortal realm aura force, their chi obviously belonged to the second step immortal realm. When the patrolling experts heard Shui Kongzi say that Ning Fan was a life immortal realm expert who came to join the Demon Suppression Alliance, they naturally would not question Ning Fan's identity anymore. Their eyes were filled with admiration and respect and they looked at Ning Fan. A second-step immortal realm expert was an existence that they could only hope to reach in their lifetime. One day later, they arrived at the main planet of the Quicksand Star region, Quicksand Planet. It was a high-grade cultivation planet. Looking from afar, it looked like a gigantic yellow fruit pit with an uneven surface. However, when they got closer, they could see that it was a cultivation planet that was mainly made of weathered mountains and rocks. There was hardly any vegetation on the entire planet. However, the Earth's spiritual chi there was not weak. This place was the most suitable for cultivating Earth elemental cultivation methods. As they approached the planet, Ning Fan could faintly feel a unique Tao essence from it. It was as if there was an invisible force that bathed Ning Fan's body when he entered the vicinity of the Quicksand Star. That force was the extremely weak power of time. Time. It was the power of time that had weathered the entire Quicksand Star and changed its terrain. Hee. This Quicksand clan can be considered as a large clan that has existed since ancient times. Even though the current clan leader of the Quicksand clan only has an early truth-crossing realm cultivation base and he couldn't make the clan famous in the Eastern Heaven, it was still a very powerful clan in ancient times. It is said that the progenitor of the Quicksand clan was an ancient immortal venerable who achieved his Tao in the Quicksand Star region. He once used a finger to deduce the passage of time and weathered all the cultivation planets in the entire Quicksand Star region, drying up all the rivers, withering all the vegetation and turning the mountains into rubble. That divine ability did not destroy the star region. Instead, it made all the cultivation planets have Earth elemental energy, making them extremely suitable for cultivating Earth elemental cultivation methods. In the future, the Quicksand clan declined generation after generation. There were no more outstanding individuals. The only outstanding individual was Taoist Quicksand, who had fallen 9 million years ago. He used a finger to reverse 10,000 years of time and erased the 10,000 years of Tao of an immortal venerable. Shui Kongzi explained the reason why the landform of the quicksand star was formed. When he talked about those peerless heroes who had passed away in the past, his usually arrogant eyes became humble and respectful. He admired those ancient heroes very much and wished that he could be born in the same generation as them. Weathering the entire star region with a finger, huh? Ning Fan raised his palm and a trace of purple-golden wind mist power quietly flowed between his fingers. The wind mist finger was activated with the power of samsara. The power of samsara was a supreme divine ability. Even an immortal emperor who was at the peak of the second step would not be able to peek into the power of samsara. This kind of power was far from what Ning Fan could control right now. As for the power of samsara, it included the power of time. The power of time was the power of time. It was the opposite of the power of space. Ning Fan fell into deep thought. He might not be able to comprehend the power of samsara, but it was not necessarily impossible for him to comprehend the power of time. If he could improve his comprehension of the Tao of time and activate the wind mist finger with the power of time, he would probably be able to weather everything. Weathering was like a finger of quicksand. Aging was like a period of time. Perhaps the two words quicksand in the quicksand star region were worthy of this divine ability of time that could weather everything. After a few more introductions, Shui Kongzi and the others brought Ning Fan to the quicksand star. Currently, the entire quicksand star was vast but sparsely populated. Other than the cultivators of the Alliance who were patrolling the place, there was almost no one else in sight. The prosperous cultivation city and trade city in the past had now become a dead and empty city. Everyone had been transferred to the hidden intermediate Kiliacosm on the quicksand star, the quicksand realm. Seeing Shui Kongzi and the others entering the star, a group of cultivators wearing golden armor immediately flew towards them. This group of cultivators consisted of 20 people. Each of them was a life immortal realm expert. The leader of the group was an old man wearing golden armor who was at the peak of the human profound realm. His expression was rather arrogant. "Commander Shui, didn't you bring some people to carry out a secret mission? Aren't you supposed to return after a few months? Why are you back so soon? Could it be that you failed the mission?" The old man's tone was a little cold. He could tell with just a glance that almost all of Shui Kongzi's group were severely injured. When they set off, there were 20 life immortal realm experts in the team. Now, only 8 of them had returned. Could it be that the remaining 12 had died? Wait. The eyes of the old man in golden armor suddenly fell on Ning Fan. Only then did he notice that Ning Fan was not one of the 20 people who were assigned to Shui Kongzi's group. Who is he? The old man's tone was full of questions. "Great Commander Kunyan, report," Shui Kongzi sighed softly. Then, he told the old man everything about how the team was ambushed, how they were hunted by a group of demons and how they were rescued by Ning Fan. The golden-armored old man's Taoist name was Kun Yunzi, and he was one of the 24 commanders of the Monster Exterminating League. The Demon Suppression Alliance had 4 Alliance Masters, 12 Vice Alliance Masters, 24 Great Commanders, 72 Commanders, more than 300 Life Immortal Experts and 200,000 Void Fragmentation Realm Experts. Shui Kongzi's status in the Alliance was lower than Kun Yunzi's, so his tone was naturally very respectful. Kun Yunzi was arrogant, and his cultivation and status were higher than Shui Kongzi, so he would naturally not be courteous to Shui Kongzi. When Kun Yunzi first heard that Shui Kongzi had been ambushed and that 13 Fate Immortals had died and 7 were injured, Kun Yunzi was furious. He wanted nothing more than to charge Shui Kongzi with the crime of incompetent leadership. But after listening to the entire process of Shui Kongzi and the others being ambushed, Kun Yunzi's anger gradually dissipated, and he started to frown. Shui Kongzi and the others being ambushed and almost annihilated did not seem to be an accident, nor was it Shui Kongzi's fault. Shui Kongzi and the others were carrying out a confidential mission. Very few people knew about their whereabouts. However, as soon as they left the territory of the southern region, they were ambushed by a group of demons. 13 of them died and 7 of them were injured. It seemed like their whereabouts had already been exposed long before Xue Kongzi and the others left the southern region. If that was the case, there were indeed spies of the demon race in the Quicksand clan. The group that was ambushed was not just Xue Kongzi's group. Knowing that the failure of the mission was not Xue Kongzi's fault, Kun Yunzi's expression became much more relaxed. When he heard that Xue Kongzi and the others were rescued by Ning Fan alone, Kun Yunzi's eyes carried a hint of doubt and he looked at Ning Fan. With his peak mortal profound realm cultivation base, he could not see through Ning Fan's exact cultivation level. It was very hard for him to imagine that Ning Fan could actually kill 500 ferocious beasts all by himself. Fellow Taoist Ning, did you really kill 500 rogue immortal realm ferocious beasts and 22 life immortal realm ferocious beasts all by himself? Moreover, there was even an early ghost profound realm ferocious beast among those life immortal realm ferocious beasts. Kun Yunzi looked at Ning Fan doubtfully. Yes. This fellow Taoist Ning indeed did it all by himself. Just as Xue Kongzi was about to tell Kun Yunzi about Ning Fan's strength, a strong aura force suddenly swept across the place and interrupted Xue Kongzi's words. That aura force was released by Ning Fan. Under this aura force, the expressions of the 20 golden armored life immortals including Kun Yunzi changed greatly. They could not withstand Ning Fan's aura force at all. They took a few steps back before they could stabilize their bodies. Each of their expressions changed greatly. Early Ghost Profound Realm. This fellow Taoist Ning is actually a Ghost Profound Realm Life Immortal Realm expert. This man is indeed an early Ghost Profound Realm expert. However, I have never seen an early Ghost Profound Realm expert with such a powerful aura force. I'm afraid even a late Ghost Profound Realm expert wouldn't be able to have such a powerful aura force. Kun Yunzi's arrogant expression had already been replaced by astonishment. After a long while, he finally realized that he had lost his composure at the moment. He hurriedly cupped his fists at Ning Fan and squeezed out an unnatural smile. I didn't expect fellow Taoist Ning to be a Ghost Profound Life Immortal. My apologies, my apologies. You're being too courteous, fellow Taoist Kunyan. Before I came to the Quicksand clan, fellow Taoist Xue Kongzi had already told me about fellow Taoist Kunyan's reputation. I heard that fellow Taoist Kunyan is proficient in the secret techniques of the Buddha sect. You once fought an early Ghost Profound Realm expert to a draw with your peak human Profound Realm cultivation base. If there's a chance, I would like to exchange a few moves with fellow Taoist Kunyan. Ning Fan said smilingly. On the way to Flowing Sand Planet, Xue Kongzi had already told Ning Fan all the information about the cultivators above the commander rank of the Demon Suppression Alliance. He, fellow Taoist Ning must be joking. This old man has always been very accurate in judging people. If I'm not mistaken, although fellow Taoist is at the early Ghost Mystic realm, your magic power is already comparable to a late Ghost Mystic realm. Fellow Taoist's magic power is profound. I'm afraid I'm not your opponent. Kun Yunzi's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. He did not expect that Ning Fan actually knew something about him. Inwardly, he could not help but feel a little proud of himself. He smiled apologetically and did not dwell on this topic. Instead, he asked about the purpose of Ning Fan's visit. As soon as Kun Yunzi heard that Ning Fan had the intention to enter the Flowing Sand realm and join the Demon Suppression Alliance, he could not help but feel overjoyed. An expert like Ning Fan was of great significance to the Demon Suppression Alliance. Ning Fan's participation would be of great help to the Demon Suppression Alliance. Since fellow Taoist Ning has the intention to join the Demon Suppression Alliance, follow me and fellow Taoist Xue back to the Flowing Sand realm. Fellow Taoist Xue's failure in the mission must be reported to the 4 Alliance Masters. Let's enter the Flowing Sand realm now. As soon as he finished speaking, Kun Yunzi took out a yellow token and struck it with a magic seal. Then, he chanted some incantations. A few breaths later, a yellow oval-shaped light gate that was about 100 zhang tall suddenly appeared at the place where the weathered mountain rocks were. Inside the light gate was a realm of its own. It was the flowing sand realm. "Fellow Taoist Ning, this way please." As soon as Kun Yunzi finished speaking, he ordered the other golden-armored cultivators to continue patrolling. Then, he personally brought Ning Fan, Shui Kongzi and the others back to the flowing sand realm. As soon as everyone entered the light gate, it disappeared. What they saw was a boundless golden desert. On this boundless desert, there were many sand cities built. Occasionally, there were also cone-shaped golden towers built on the desert. Outside those golden towers, there were usually sphinxes with solemn expressions. Inside the golden towers, the chi of death lingered without dispersing. It was as if some of the deceased had passed away in meditation in these golden towers. This is the past life tower of the Flowing Sand clan. If the experts of the Flowing Sand clan are close to death, they will return to this tower and pass away. This tradition is said to have started from the generation of the ancestors of the Flowing Sand clan. Seeing that Ning Fan was curious about these golden towers, Kun Yunzi and Shui Kongzi took turns to tell Ning Fan about the local customs and practices of the Flowing Sand clan. As they flew across the desert, Ning Fan's group met many cultivators of the Demon Suppression Alliance. They also met many cultivators of the Flowing Sand clan. Most of the cultivators of the Demon Suppression Alliance were not members of the Flowing Sand clan. Instead, they were hired thugs by the Flowing Sand clan. Their attire was no different from most of the cultivators of the Eastern Heaven. The attire of the members of the Flowing Sand clan, on the other hand, was vastly different from the cultivators of the Eastern Heaven. Most of the male cultivators of the Flowing Sand clan were used to being bare-chested. On their bodies, they usually wore golden ornaments which were usually inlaid with luxurious gems. The women of the Flowing Sand clan liked to cover their faces with light veils. They also liked to wear golden ornaments. Compared to ordinary female cultivators of the Eastern Heaven, their attire was much bolder and unrestrained. They dared to expose their arms, calves and lower abdomen. Their skin was also not as fair as that of ordinary women. Instead, it carried a light bronze color. Even though their attire was different from the style of the Eastern Heaven, their words and actions were no different from the cultivators of the Eastern Heaven. As soon as they saw Kun Yunzi and his group returning, all the cultivators along the way, regardless of whether they belonged to the Demon Suppression Alliance or the Flowing Sand clan, would salute Kun Yunzi and his group respectfully. In the depths of the desert, there was a huge golden city that occupied an area of tens of thousands of li. The four sides of the city gate were guarded by two ghost-profound realm sphinx-faced beasts. They were not statues but living creatures. They were the unique guardian divine beasts of the Flowing Sand clan. Only the Flowing Sand clan possessed such strange beasts. However, there were not many of them. Currently, there were only 8 of them in the entire Flowing Sand clan. Kun Yunzi and his group came from the south. When they entered the huge golden city from the south gate. As soon as they saw Kun Yunzi, Shui Kongzi and the others who were not members of the Flowing Sand clan trying to enter the city, the two sphinx-faced beasts who were guarding the south gate revealed an arrogant expression. They let out a low roar as if they were disdainful towards them. Kun Yunzi, Shui Kongzi and the others seemed to have long gotten used to the disdainful eyes of the sphinx-faced beasts. Thus, their emotions did not fluctuate much. Ning Fan, on the other hand, raised his eyes slightly and gave the two sphinx-faced beasts an indifferent glance. He did not purposely activate the prestige of the demon ancestor's bloodline, or did he purposely activate the aura force of his royal bloodline and divine bloodline. Just a calm look from him made the blood of the two sphinx-faced beasts boil for no reason. The way they looked at Ning Fan actually carried a hint of undetectable fear and respect. Then, they slowly bent their knees and bowed to Ning Fan. Divine beasts, huh? If a demon beast cultivates the divine Tao, it can break away from its body and become a divine beast, Ning Fan looked at the two beasts with great interest. Then, he entered the huge golden city. Behind him, Kun Yunzi, Shui Kongzi and the other life immortal realm cultivators wore astonished expressions. Could it be that they were still dreaming? The sphinx-faced beasts who had always been arrogant actually knelt to Ning Fan. How could this be possible? One should know that even if they were facing the current clan leader of the Quicksand clan, these sphinx-faced beasts would not change their arrogant attitude, let alone kneeling to anyone. What kind of ability did Ning Fan use to actually make these sphinx-faced beasts submit to him? Fellow Taoist Ning, what happened just now? Kun Yunzi, Shui Kongzi and the others asked doubtfully. Nothing happened just now. Ning Fan smiled and did not mention much about what happened just now. Seeing that Ning Fan did not want to talk about it, Kun Yunzi, Shui Kongzi and the others also tactfully stopped asking. However, everyone felt that Ning Fan was becoming more and more unfathomable. Perhaps, the Quicksand clan had just received an incredibly strong reinforcement this time. With Kun Yunzi leading the way, their journey into the huge golden city was almost unobstructed. Occasionally, some patrolling guards would ask them questions. However, when they heard that Ning Fan was a Ghost Profound Realm expert who had come to join the Demon Extermination Alliance, none of them dared to stop Ning Fan and the others. At the center of the huge city, there was a cone-shaped golden palace. This palace used to be the place where the clan leader of the Quicksand clan cultivated in seclusion. Now, it was the headquarters of the Demon Extermination Alliance. Kun Yunzi led Shui Kongzi and the others into the golden palace. Ning Fan, on the other hand, waited outside the golden palace for the four leaders to summon him. Since Shui Kongzi's team was ambushed, they needed to report it first. Only then could they mention Ning Fan joining the alliance to the four leaders. Before the four leaders summoned him, Ning Fan could only wait patiently outside the golden palace. He was not in a hurry. Instead, he quietly spread his spirit sense to search for the clan temple of the Quicksand clan in the huge city. However, he did not find the clan temple in the Quicksand clan. Instead, he spread his spirit sense out of the huge golden city and spread it to the boundless desert. Even though the Quicksand realm was just a damaged medium-class world, it was extremely vast. Even if Ning Fan used the heaven-peering rain technique, he would not be able to see through the entire medium-class world with a single technique. Now, Ning Fan did not use the rain technique. Instead, he was just using his spirit sense to search for the location of the clan temple. Thus, the range of his search was naturally very small. He did not use the rain technique to search for the clan temple. If he uses the rain technique rashly in the Quicksand realm where it rarely rained, it would probably arouse the vigilance of the experts of the Quicksand clan. Knowing that he would not be able to find the clan temple of the Quicksand clan in a short period of time, Ning Fan temporarily put aside the matter of stealing the Joss flames and began to observe the local customs and practices of the Quicksand clan. The women of the Quicksand clan dressed boldly but they were very conservative. Occasionally, some female cultivators of the Quicksand clan would admire Ning Fan when they saw his handsome appearance. However, they did not dare to strike up a conversation with him rashly. Instead, they only dared to peek at Ning Fan from afar while feeling shy. On the other hand, there were a few female cultivators of the alliance who took the initiative to strike up a conversation with Ning Fan after noticing his extraordinary bearing. However, they were all sent away by Ning Fan with a few words. 2 hours passed. Kun Yunzi and the others still had not left the palace. 4 hours had passed and Ning Fan was still waiting outside the palace. After witnessing the local customs and practices of the Quicksand clan, Ning Fan closed his eyes and sensed the Tao sense of the power of time in the Quicksand realm. Elegance is like a finger of quicksand. Age is a period of time. If I can comprehend the power of time and use it to activate the wind mist finger, this finger will certainly become my trump card again. At this moment, Ning Fan's heart was strangely quiet. The clamor of the mortal world gradually faded away. Only the hissing sound of wind and sand blowing across the desert remained in his ears. He seemed to be able to hear the sound of some ancient rock standing tall on the desert being weathered into sand bit by bit. A finger of quicksand is a period of time. What really causes the rocks to be weathered is not wind but time. What really causes the rocks to decay is only time. Time is time. At this moment, Ning Fan's heart gradually merged with the entire quicksand realm. A trace of the blood of time in his body suddenly became scorching hot and fervent. A trace of the Tao power of time was slowly taking shape on his body. At the crucial moment when he was comprehending the Tao, an extremely unpleasant voice broke Ning Fan's tranquil state of mind and pulled him back from his state of comprehension. "You are Ning Fan." Ning Fan opened his eyes. His gaze was slightly cold. He turned around and said indifferently, "May I know who you are?" The one who spoke was a group of male cultivators who were bare-chested. There were a total of 20 of them, and the weakest among them was at the life immortal realm. The leader of the group was a late ghost profound realm cultivator. These people were bare-chested. Judging from their attire, they should be members of the Quicksand clan. However, these people were also wearing the unique badge of the Alliance on their bodies. In other words, these people were not only members of the Quicksand clan but also cultivators of the Alliance. The late ghost profound realm cultivator was a bald burly man who was wearing a pair of earrings made of pure gold. The way he looked at Ning Fan was filled with judgment and indifference. Underneath that indifference, there was actually a trace of hatred. Hatred. What kind of hatred did he have against Ning Fan? Even though this trace of hatred was deeply hidden, it could not hide from Ning Fan's eyes. Ning Fan's eyes became even colder. He knew that this person did not come with good intentions. However, he did not know when he had offended this person. After hearing Ning Fan asking about his identity, the bald burly man only curled his lips into a cold smile. He did not answer Ning Fan's question. Instead, he said in an unfriendly tone, "Since you don't know me, it seems like I didn't find the wrong person. I'm an elder of the Quicksand clan, La Lu. Of course, I also have another identity, which is the vice leader of the Demon Extermination Alliance. I heard that you want to join the Demon Extermination Alliance and even want to fight for the position of vice leader." Ning Fan did not answer La Lu's question. His frown deepened and he turned around to leave. This person was obviously looking for trouble at first glance. The reason why Ning Fan came to the Quicksand realm was to steal the Joss flames. Before that, he did not want to get involved in other troubles. Seeing that Ning Fan dared to ignore him, La Lu's eyes turned gloomy. The hatred in his eyes intensified and he said coldly, "Are you trying to run away? According to the rules of the Demon Extermination Alliance, there can only be 12 vice leaders at most. If you really want to join the alliance and become the vice leader, you need to push one of them down and take away his position. Ning Fan, do you dare to make a bet with me? If you can defeat me by 1 or 2 moves, I will give you the position of vice leader. If you can't even take 1 move from me, then you deserve to die." Ning Fan's eyes turned even colder. However, he did not stop his footsteps. Even though he did not like La Lu's way of doing things and his character, he would not go so far as to kill someone just because of his provocation. Cultivation base was not meant to be used to bully the weak. Humph! How dare you ignore me? You're courting death. All of you, attack together. Take this young man down and wait for my punishment." As soon as La Lu gave the order, the 19 life immortals of the Quicksand clan behind him immediately turned into 19 rays of golden light. With a flash, they surrounded Ning Fan. Without any unnecessary words, the 19 life immortals activated their secret techniques at the same time. All of them shone with golden light. Extremely strong true yang light rose from their bodies and it was dazzling. The true yang light turned into a dazzling golden grand formation, trapping Ning Fan within it. The 19 life immortals waved their hands and the golden light condensed into a gigantic golden sword. They held it in their palms and slashed at Ning Fan, who was trapped in the formation. The 19 powerful auras instantly spread across the entire Golden City. Even in some of the sand cities that were far away from the city, many people could sense the auras of the 19 life immortals. This true Yang power. There's no mistaking it. It's the Golden Guards of the Quicksand clan. They are bullying the cultivators of the Alliance again. In the Golden City, many cultivators of the Alliance frowned and said. Among the 19 life immortals, 7 of them were at the early human profound realm, 5 of them were at the mid-human profound realm, 3 of them were at the late human profound realm, and 3 of them were at the peak human profound realm. 1 of them was at the early ghost profound realm. These 19 people belonged to the Golden Guards of the Quicksand clan. They listened to the command of the leader of the Golden Guards, La Lu. La Lu had always hated the cultivators of the Alliance. He always bullied them with his identity as a member of the Quicksand clan. The Demon Suppression Alliance was a force that the clan leader of the Quicksand clan had recruited. In the Alliance, the members of the Quicksand clan had a special status. Ordinary people would not dare to offend them. Putting aside La Lu's special identity as an elder of the Quicksand clan and his identity as the vice leader of the Alliance, not many people would dare to offend him with his late ghost profound realm cultivation base. Even if they were unlucky and were bullied by La Lu, they could only swallow their anger. Sensing that the Golden Guards under La Lu were stirring up trouble in the city, many cultivators of the Alliance guessed that La Lu was going to deal with them again. Most of them sent their spirit sense to observe the situation, but no one dared to help Ning Fan. No one would offend La Lu for the sake of a stranger like Ning Fan. From their point of view, Ning Fan would be severely injured even if he did not die after being besieged by 19 life immortal realm cultivators. All of you have crossed the line. The cold light in Ning Fan's eyes reached its peak. Even though he did not like to cause trouble, he was not afraid of it either. Ning Fan sneered and took a step forward. The aura force of an early ghost profound realm cultivator swept across the place. The entire Golden City immediately shook violently. An unimaginable destructive force came from beneath Ning Fan's feet. Countless cracks appeared on the ground. Countless houses collapsed under his stomp. Countless cultivators escaped from the collapsed houses in a miserable manner. They looked at Ning Fan in shock and exclaimed. That's right. That's right. Early ghost profound realm. This man is actually a ghost profound life immortal. Under that destructive force, the true Yang Grand Formation instantly shattered into pieces of golden light. The expressions of the 19 life immortal realm cultivators changed. However, they still slashed at the golden swords in their hands. Ning Fan raised his head and laughed. His eyes looked like a devil and his black hair danced wildly in the air. With a wave of his hand, 19 gigantic palm imprints that were condensed from magic power were sent flying. The 19 golden swords shattered into golden light and disappeared. As for the 19 life immortal realm golden guards, they were all sent flying away by the palm imprints. The 18 life immortal realm cultivators were instantly killed by the palm imprints. Their bodies exploded into blood mist. Only the early ghost profound realm life immortal realm cultivator managed to block the palm imprints. The fear in his heart reached its peak in an instant. He had used all of his strength to block Ning Fan's casual palm imprint. How could he not see that Ning Fan did not use any extra abilities in that palm imprint? It was just a palm imprint that was condensed by Ning Fan's powerful magic power. Moreover, the palm imprint was divided into 19 parts. Each of the palm imprints was not as strong as before. Even so, he was the only one among the 19 gold guards who did not die under the palm imprint. Ning Fan's strength was far beyond his imagination. Ning Fan's ferocity was also far beyond his imagination. A life immortal realm cultivator who had yet to join the Demon Extermination Alliance actually dared to kill 18 gold guards in public in Flowing Sand Realm. He was really bold and arrogant. After seeing Ning Fan kill 18 people with a single palm imprint, he actually raised his hand again and sent another palm imprint at him. The early Ghost Profound Realm cultivator was filled with fear. He turned around and fled towards the bald man while shouting in panic. "Elder La Lu, save me!" At this moment, La Lu's eyes were filled with astonishment. He did not expect Ning Fan to actually have such great strength. No wonder Ning Fan could save Shui Kongzi and the others and kill all of his beloved demons. So that's why, is he actually such a strong person? Even though he's just an early Ghost Profound Realm cultivator, his combat power is comparable to a late Ghost Profound Realm cultivator. After recovering from his shock, La Lu's eyes flashed with ruthlessness again. Ning Fan first killed 500 of his demon beast subordinates and then annihilated 18 of his gold guards. This was really unforgivable. With a flash, La Lu appeared beside the early Ghost Profound Realm cultivator in a single step. He stood in front of him and stared at Ning Fan coldly. "Today, you must die." "You?" Ning Fan said coldly. Suddenly, he raised his hand and summoned a ray of dark golden sword light. At the moment when the sword light appeared, a sense of extreme danger rose in La Lu's heart, causing his expression to change drastically. "I'm not going to separate anymore. There's no more updates. Let's wash up and sleep." Chapter 767. That dark golden sword light was Ning Fan's Dao weapon, memory-severing Dao sword. With Ning Fan's magic power, which was comparable to a late Ghost Profound Realm expert, almost no late Ghost Profound Realm expert could withstand the power of this sword. The moment the sword appeared, Rara was not the only one who felt a sense of danger. His expression changed drastically. The expressions of countless cultivators who were watching the battle in the giant golden city also changed drastically. All of them could see how powerful Ning Fan's Dao weapon was. Without any hesitation, Rara's eyes turned cold. He grabbed the early Ghost Profound Realm subordinate behind him and threw him towards the incoming dark golden sword light. Just now, he was acting like he was standing up for his subordinate. Now that he was facing a life-and-death situation, he actually used his subordinate as a shield without any hesitation. That early Ghost Profound Realm Huang Jinwei did not expect that he would be used as a shield by Elder Raru. He was thrown towards the dark golden sword light by Raru like a sandbag. The dark golden sword light flashed and turned into 108,000 illusory black swords, slashing at the early Ghost Profound Realm Huang Jinwei's face. The illusory scenes blinded his eyes, evoking the most painful memories in his heart. In his memories, he vaguely saw the person whom he felt the most guilty towards in his life walking towards him step by step and beheading him with a sword, instantly killing an early Ghost Profound Realm expert. At this moment, countless cultivators exclaimed at the same time. They were shocked by the power of the memory-severing Dao sword. After killing the early Ghost Profound Realm Huang Jinwei, Ning Fan flicked his finger. 108,000 illusory sword light flashed and blocked all of Raru's escape routes. With a flick of his sleeve, he collected all the primordial spirits of the 19 Huang Jinwei and searched their souls and memories. He just hurriedly looked through their memories. There was nothing wrong with their memories. After killing these primordial spirits with a secret technique, he temporarily sealed them in his soul pouch and used the soul blast technique in the future. After taking away all the storage pouches of the 19 Huang Jinwei, he calmly looked at Raru, who was trapped in the sword formation. Raru was not a weakling. Even when he was trapped in the illusory sword formation, he did not get killed instantly by the illusory swords. He was very sensitive to danger and he was very decisive in his actions. As soon as he saw the power of the memory-severing Dao sword, he used his subordinate as a shield without hesitation. Unfortunately, his strength was still weaker than Ning Fan's. Even though he was not killed by the illusory sword formation, he was trapped by the illusory swords, he was still unable to escape. Seeing more and more illusory swords, Raru gritted his teeth. He patted his storage pouch and took out a jade slip. Then, he muttered to himself as he loudly reprimanded Yizichin. Forbidden technique, divine sun mirror. The moment his voice fell, countless rays of golden light flowed out from the jade slip fragments and condensed into a divine mirror artifact a meter above his head, radiating a dazzling golden light like the sun. A golden divine light swept out from the divine mirror, carrying with it the power of a peak spirit Xian expert. With a sweep of the divine light, the 108,000 illusory swords immediately began to burn under the sunlight and dissipated into smoke. In just the blink of an eye, all the illusory swords were destroyed. The true form of the memory-severing Dao sword appeared. After being struck by the golden light, it let out a clanging sound and flew back to Ning Fan's hand. This is the Quicksand Clan's forbidden technique Jade Scroll. Every member of the Quicksand Clan has a chance to obtain a jade slip from the clan's temple once in their lifetime. It can be used as a life-saving trump card. I didn't expect Rara to be forced into such a desperate situation. He even used the only jade slip he had. Some cultivators exclaimed. The jade slip of Quicksand Clan? Ning Fan frowned. If Rara didn't use the jade slip at the critical moment, he certainly wouldn't be able to survive the illusory sword formation. After the divine mirror of sun above his head attacked, it turned into golden light and disappeared. Rara's expression was extremely unpleasant. After Ning Fan revealed his strength, he was very sure that he was no match for Ning Fan. There was only one jade slip. He probably wouldn't be able to survive Ning Fan's next attack. Admittedly, he wasn't a match for Ning Fan alone. However, if he gathered all the members of the Quicksand Clan in the city and besieged Ning Fan, he might not necessarily lose. Where are the divine beasts that guard the city? Quickly come with me and kill this bastard. As soon as Rara finished speaking, he took out a golden flute and blew it. The 8 gigantic beasts that were guarding the city gate immediately turned into 8 rays of divine light and flew towards the center of the golden city. Get lost. Ning Fan's eyes turned sharp. He glanced at the 8 beasts. His eyes contained an unimaginable aura force that pressed down on the 8 beasts. Other than the 8 beasts, no one else knew about it. It was the aura force that came from the fusion of the ancestral blood of the Fu Li clan and the divine Rain King blood. Divine beasts were the product of the fusion of the demon race and the divine race. They were restrained by the 2 types of aura force at the same time. Thus, they couldn't resist Ning Fan's aura force at all. The 8 sphinx-faced beasts were startled. They suddenly fell from the sky and crashed into the city, destroying houses one after another. Then, they crawled on the ground and trembled. Each of the old monsters was shocked. They could not imagine why the sphinx-faced beasts who had always been arrogant would show such a terrified expression in front of Ning Fan. How is this possible? Even if the sphinx-faced beasts die, they won't lower their heads to anyone, let alone show fear. Why would they be afraid of you? Lao Lu's expression changed drastically. He gritted his teeth and roared at the sky again. Elder Lei Tu, Elder Wu Sun, Elder Aimo, quickly lend me a hand and kill this monster. After that, I'm willing to give you 12 red essence stones as a reward. 12 red essence stones. 3 voices immediately resounded from the Golden City. They were secretly shocked by the generous reward that Lao Lu promised. There were also members of the Quicksand Clan among the spectators in the Golden City. However, none of them were willing to help Lao Lu. However, as soon as Lao Lu offered the red essence stones as the reward, 3 late ghost profound realm old monsters immediately flew towards him from 3 different directions. Together with Lao Lu, they surrounded Ning Fan. The 3 of them decided to help Lao Lu for the sake of the red essence stones. The 3 of them were half naked with golden ornaments on their bodies. They were the elders of the Quicksand Clan. Another identity was that they were one of the 12 alliance masters of the Demon Suppression Alliance. Lao Lu. To be honest, I can't stand your actions against the cultivators of the alliance. However, for the sake of the red essence stones, I'll help you today and kill this arrogant bastard. Elder Lei Tu, who was short and small, sneered. This young man has not officially joined the Demon Suppression Alliance, but he already dared to kill the cultivators of my Quicksand clan. Based on this, killing him 100 times won't be enough. Wuxia had a skinny body. His sunken eyes were filled with cold killing intent. 12 red essence stones, huh? Each of us can get 4 of them. Hee hee. If I can get 4 more red essence stones, the true yang power in my body will increase by a lot. In at most 1,000 years, I can certainly break through to the mid-ghost profound realm. Elder Ai Mo's eyes were filled with greed. Seeing that there were 3 late ghost profound realm experts helping him, Lao Lu gradually regained his confidence. He smiled coldly and pointed at Ning Fan. Kill him. As soon as Lao Lu's voice fell, Lei Tu and the others immediately took action. They displayed a golden secret technique and attacked Ning Fan. Lao Lu himself also displayed a golden divine ability. The divine abilities of the 4 of them were closely related to the true yang power. Even a peak ghost profound realm expert might not be able to withstand the joint attack of the 4 of them. Even though he was besieged by 4 late ghost profound realm experts, he did not show any fear. His eyes swept across the direction of the Golden Palace thoughtfully. The momentum of him killing the Golden Guards could not be concealed at all. Perhaps the 4 leaders of the Demon Suppression Alliance in the Golden Palace had already known about the changes in the outside world. However, up until now, none of the 4 leaders had come to stop the battle. Were these people tacitly approving of the actions of Lao Lu and the others, or were they afraid of his strength and did not dare to stop them? The 4 killing secret techniques were getting closer and closer. The cold light in his eyes also became colder and fiercer. When he took a step forward, the earth gave birth to a lead lotus and the lotus transformed into 1,000,000 shadows. With the protection of 1,000,000 lotus shadows, even an early true immortal might not be able to break the defense of the lotus shadows that covered the sky. Boom! 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 The 4 secret techniques only caused faint ripples on the lotus shadow barrier. They could not break the defense of the lotus shadows at all. It's an ancient divine technique, the 3 flowers converging prominence. This kid has actually cultivated this technique to the great perfection of the first flower. If that's the case, suddenly, the surprised voice of an old man resounded from the Golden Palace. The one who spoke was an early true crossing realm patriarch of the Quicksand clan. The 3 flowers converging prominence technique was not a rare technique in the Eastern Heaven immortal world. However, only a few people could successfully cultivate it and even fewer people could cultivate it to the great perfection of the first flower. In the Golden City, countless old monsters recognized the 3 flowers converging prominence technique that Ning Fan displayed. All of them were dumbfounded. Although there were many old monsters in this place, none of them had seen the great perfection of the first flower, 3 flowers converging prominence. At this moment, Ning Fan was protected by 1,000,000 lead lotus shadows. Even an early true crossing realm true immortal might not be able to hurt him. Although Ning Fan's current cultivation base was only at the early ghost profound realm, with the help of the 3 flowers converging prominence technique, he was already invincible in battles below the true crossing realm. Seeing that their joint attack could not hurt Ning Fan at all, the expressions of Raru and the other 3 elders of the Quicksand clan changed drastically. At the next moment, Ning Fan flicked his finger. 108,000 illusory swords sealed the vast sky, trapping the 4 elders within the sword formation. The expressions of Raru and the others changed. They had already witnessed the power of the memory-severing Dao sword. How would they dare to be careless? The 3 elders, Lei Tu, Wuxia and Ai Mo, took out their life-saving trump cards, the jade slips of forbidden techniques and crushed them one by one. Forbidden technique, flame-killing sword. Forbidden technique, earth drawing as yang. Forbidden technique, true yang armor. Elder Lei Tu summoned a gigantic sword that was condensed from golden flames. With a single slash, he broke the illusory sword formation. His face was filled with terror as he fled towards the Golden Palace. He knew that his patriarch was in the Golden Palace. However, he could not understand why his patriarch did not stand up for his clansmen after Ning Fan killed the Golden Guards and attacked them. Instead, he was watching everything coldly from the Golden Palace. At this moment, Lei Tu was deeply convinced that even if he joined forces with Raru and the others, they would still not be a match for Ning Fan. However, the defense of Ning Fan's 3 flowers was not something they could break. Lei Tu escaped from the illusory sword formation, but Wu Sen and Aimo were not as lucky. The forbidden technique jade slips that they obtained from the clan temple were all defensive abilities. At most, they could protect them from the sword formation for the time being. However, they could not help them kill their way out of the sword formation. Raru was even more unlucky. He had already used up his trump card. The current him could not resist the destructive power of the memory-severing Dao sword with his current strength. Scenes of illusions appeared in front of his eyes. In the depths of those illusions, he saw memories of the past. For a certain secret that he could not tell others, he had killed countless cultivators of the Alliance. Those cultivators of the Alliance who had died tragically turned into walking corpses. They held dark golden longswords in their hands and surrounded him. There was no way to escape. Chi.an illusory sword light pierced through Raru's dantian. A blood-curdling scream reverberated throughout the entire Golden City. However, it soon weakened and disappeared. Raru had fallen. Elder Lei Tu, who had just escaped from the Golden Palace, heard Raru's blood-curdling scream. He knew that Raru was already dead. The fear in his heart grew stronger and he ran even faster. In just a blink of an eye, he had already reached the entrance of the Golden Palace. He stood outside the sealed door and said, "Clan leader, save me." In the entire Quicksand clan, other than the clan leader and a few peak Ghost Realm experts who had yet to return to the clan, there were only 4 late Ghost Realm experts left to guard the Quicksand world. If the clan leader of the Quicksand clan did not save them, no one would be able to save their lives from Ning Fan's hands today. Little friend, when it is possible to let people go, one should spare them. A voice that was neither happy nor angry came from the Golden Palace. Then, the door of the Golden Palace slowly opened. That voice came from the clan leader of the Quicksand clan. That voice seemed to be instigating Ning Fan to spare the lives of Lei Tu and the others. As soon as he saw the golden door open and heard the clan leader's words, Lei Tu was overjoyed. He thought that his life would certainly be saved. In Lei Tu's point of view, no matter how strong Ning Fan was, he was just an early Ghost Realm expert. No matter how bold he was, he would not dare to kill anyone after old monster Du Zhen had spoken. Just as this thought rose in his mind, he suddenly felt that the scenery in front of him was changing rapidly. He felt as if he was flying high up in the sky. When he shifted his gaze downwards, he saw his headless corpse lying on the ground with blood gushing out like a fountain. Chi! A ray of dark golden sword light gave out a clear sound and slashed at Lei Tu's neck. A dark golden illusory sword appeared in Ning Fan's hand out of nowhere. He cut off Lei Tu's head with a single slash. That dark golden illusory sword was one of the swords that Ning Fan had casually taken out from the 108,000 sword formation. At the moment when Lei Tu lost his life, 2 miserable shrieks came from the sword formation one after another. Even though the 2 elders, Wu Sen and Aimo, could survive for some time in the illusory sword formation with the help of the jade slips that contained the forbidden technique, they could not last for too long. At this moment, they still lost their lives. The corpses and storage pouches of the 4 elders were all taken away by Ning Fan. After the 3 elders' primordial spirits were destroyed by Ning Fan, they were sealed with a secret technique and kept in their soul pouches temporarily. They could only be used to perform the spirit blast technique after the secret technique was refined. The sword formation dispersed. Ning Fan held Lao Lu's primordial spirit in his hand and searched his soul and memory mercilessly. He wanted to see why Lao Lu would harbor hatred towards him. The entire Golden City fell into dead silence after Ning Fan killed the 4 elders of the Quicksand clan in a row. No one expected Ning Fan to be so bold as to kill 19 Golden Guards and 4 elders of the Quicksand clan in a row. No one expected Ning Fan's strength to be so strong. He was almost invincible below the Duzhen realm. No one expected that Ning Fan would actually continue to kill the members of the Quicksand clan even after the clan leader had given the order. With a loud bang, the sealed door of the Golden Palace was completely opened. A skinny old man with mottled white hair and a bare upper body walked out of the Golden Palace step by step. He stared at Ning Fan with a cold gaze. Even if you are a disciple of the Slaughter Palace and even if you have the Spirit Blast technique as your trump card, you still have to give me an explanation today. This skinny old man had a golden pupil on his forehead. He was holding a golden scepter with the pattern of a cobra in his hand. Every time he took a step, a footprint that was burning with golden flames would appear on the ground. There was a scorching power of the great Tao in his body that was as hot as the sun. He was the clan leader of the Quicksand clan, Mu Tu. Behind him were 3 early Duzhen realm true immortal realm old monsters. They were the other 3 true immortal realm alliance lords of the Demon Suppression Alliance. All of them looked like they were watching a good show. Behind the 3 true immortal realm experts were Kuan Yunzi, Shui Kongzi, and a few other life immortal realm experts. All of them were looking at Ning Fan as if he was a monster. Kuan Yunzi and Shui Kongzi already knew Ning Fan's true identity. The clan leader of the Quicksand clan had personally told them about it. After the clan leader pointed out Ning Fan's identity as a disciple of the Slaughter Palace and a cultivator of the Spirit Blast technique, countless old monsters in the Golden City guessed Ning Fan's identity. They were so shocked that they could not speak a word. He is the Ning Fan who had massacred the entire Yao Sect Star region and entered the Slaughter Palace. The Devil Lord who has learned the Spirit Blast technique and is unstoppable in the Eastern Heaven. Even Du Zhen would avoid him when he sees him. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. The clan leader of the Quicksand clan, Mu Tu, gave him tremendous pressure. If Ning Fan does not use his trump cards and uses his own strength to fight Mu Tu, his chances of winning would not be more than 10%. Even though he had already cultivated the first flower of the 3 flowers converging prominence technique to the great perfection stage, it was still impossible for him to defeat a true immortal realm expert with just this technique. Fortunately, he had many trump cards with him. Thus, he was not afraid of Mu Tu. With just the ancient devil puppet, he could go anywhere he wanted today. No one could stop him or make him stay. I wonder what kind of explanation clan leader Mu Tu wants from me. Ning Fan searched through Lao Lu's memories and frowned. Then, he relaxed his brows and said without changing his expression. He destroyed and sealed Lao Lu's primordial spirit. From Lao Lu's memories, he only knew that the reason why Lao Lu hated him was related to him saving Shui Kongzi and the others. Before Ning Fan could search through his memories, Lao Lu's memories had already been destroyed by the restriction formation in Lao Lu's Sea of Consciousness. Inside Lao Lu's Sea of Consciousness, there was a destructive restriction formation. Once someone searches his soul and memories, all of Lao Lu's memories would be destroyed. Ning Fan did not find out the reason why Lao Lu hated him. However, he had a stronger feeling that his trip to the Quicksand clan was not as simple as he had imagined. Take one of my attacks or die. The golden eye on Mu Tu's forehead flashed. An unimaginable true yang power turned into surging golden flames and condensed into a gigantic fist made of golden flames. Then, he threw a punch at Ning Fan's head. The power of this punch was enough to instantly kill any cultivator below the true immortal realm. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. Just as he was about to summon the ancient devil puppet to teach the Quicksand clan a painful lesson, all of a sudden, his eyes flashed unnoticeably. He seemed to have noticed something unusual about this clan leader Mu Tu. Ning Fan's eyes narrowed. He temporarily gave up on the idea of summoning the ancient devil puppet and said with a cold smile. "All right. Let me have a taste of your powerful techniques. The boundless darkness of the night suddenly descended. The Big Dipper constellation appeared above the night sky. Tao image, appear. 7 layers of palm imprints were slowly fusing into one on Ning Fan's palm. The 5-colored medicine soul gave Ning Fan an unusually strong sense of perception. If Ning Fan was not mistaken, this Mu Tu had concealed his cultivation base. He was not at the early True Crossing realm. Rumor has it that the clan leader of the Quicksand clan, Mu Tu, had failed to attain his Tao attainment, leaving behind a serious injury in his Tao heart. Even though he had used a secret technique to break through to the early True Crossing realm, he would never be able to break through to the early True Crossing realm in his lifetime. Today, the truth that Ning Fan saw was actually different from the rumors. Either Mu Tu had deceived the world. Or, this person was not Mu Tu at all. His true cultivation base was at the early Shedding Void realm. His strength was almost on par with the ancient devil puppet. Chapter 768. After knowing Mu Tu's true strength, Ning Fan did not plan to act rashly and summon the ancient devil puppet. The situation in the Quicksand Star Field was more complicated than he had imagined. Originally, he had guessed that this demon tide was a conspiracy by the Quicksand clan. Now it seemed that the entire Quicksand clan was also part of this conspiracy. Raru, on the other hand, seemed to be an insignificant character in this conspiracy. Unable to kill the enemy in one fell swoop, it would not be wise to reveal his trump card. Ning Fan had his own purpose while Mu Tu had his own plan. Due to certain reasons, Mu Tu could not reveal his true cultivation base and divine arts. He did not want to expose his identity. He also did not intend to expose the existence of the ancient devil puppet before killing Mu Tu in a single strike. Mu Tu seemed to have exerted all of his strength in that attack. That punch was filled with extreme fury. However, in reality, he was not angry because Ning Fan had killed the members of the Quicksand clan. Instead, it was because Ning Fan had cultivated the first ring of the 3 flowers to the Great Perfection realm. His true identity was not Mu Tu, he had merely possessed Mu Tu's body. He was not the chief of the Quicksand tribe, so why would he care about the life and death of the Quicksand tribe? The destructive power of this punch was enough to break through Ning Fan's 3 flowers converging prominence defense and slightly injure him. His current identity was the leader of the Quicksand tribe. In front of everyone's eyes, he had to put on a good show. He had to attack Ning Fan and teach him a lesson in order to appease the criticism of the members of the Quicksand clan. However, he didn't want to kill Ning Fan because Ning Fan's first flower was still useful to him. It wasn't a big or small use, this punch only exerted the power of an early Truth Crossing realm attack, but it was enough to severely injure Ning Fan's. In the eyes of others, the power of that punch was too terrifying. It was more than enough to kill Ning Fan 10 times over. Of course, according to what Mu Tu knew, Ning Fan still had a trump card called the Spirit Blast technique. At the same time, Mu Tu put his hand on his storage bag. There was a golden jade slip inside the storage pouch. Sealed inside the jade slip was the forbidden technique of the Peak of Crossing Truth realm. It was Zhen Muda's life-saving jade slip. Ever since he, the fake Mu Tu, possessed the real Mu Tu, this life-saving jade slip followed him. He had already decided that if Ning Fan uses the Spirit Blast technique, he would use this jade slip to resist it. With the number of primordial spirits in Ning Fan's soul pouch, the destructive power of the soul blasting technique was rather terrifying. If he didn't have this jade slip, he would have to reveal his true cultivation to block the soul blast art. If he wasn't forced into a desperate situation, he didn't want to expose his true cultivation and divine abilities. Otherwise, he would attract a terrifying calamity. Ning Fan did not rely on the Spirit Blast technique to defend against his attack. He did not even use the 3 flowers converging prominence technique. This was out of Mu Tu's expectation. When Ning Fan displayed the strange phenomenon of his Devil Knight transformation and his Dao transformation into the Big Dipper star transformation and condensed the heaven-holding imprint, Mu Tu's eyes narrowed. For the first time, he realized that he had actually underestimated this junior. Because of Ning Fan's Dao image, the entire Golden City was temporarily shrouded in darkness. Facing the incoming gigantic fist made of golden flames, Ning Fan pondered deeply. Then, he flipped his palm and sent out the heaven-holding seal horizontally. The golden flame fist and the black and white palm collided, causing the entire flowing sand world to shake violently. The heaven-holding seal was already Ning Fan's strongest ability at the moment. However, it was only on par with the gigantic golden flame fist. The shockwaves from the clash of spells turned into strong gales that swept through the entire flowing sand realm. The dark night dispersed and the Big Dipper disappeared. Yellow sand filled the entire sky. Ning Fan retreated tens of steps in the violent gales before he could stabilize his body. As for Mu Tu, he only retreated 10 steps. Ning Fan frowned. It was his first time witnessing the huge gap between him and a cultivator of the Duzhen realm. Even though Mu Tu had concealed his cultivation base, the power of his punch was truly at the early Duzhen realm. Ning Fan's heaven-holding seal had consumed half of his magic power. Now, he could only barely remain undefeated in a head-on collision with an early Duzhen realm cultivator. If he wanted to defeat an early Duzhen realm cultivator, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens unless he succeeded in launching a sneak attack. Ning Fan was very dissatisfied with the result of this collision. However, in the eyes of others, it was already very heaven-defying for Ning Fan to be able to forcefully withstand Mu Tu's palm imprint and remain undefeated. Which early Ghost Realm cultivator could withstand the attack of an early Duzhen Realm cultivator with their own abilities? Other than Ning Fan, there was probably no one else who could do this. For a moment, the entire Golden City fell into dead silence. Even the 3 Alliance lords who were just watching the show wore a solemn expression. Ning Fan's strength had exceeded their expectations. He could almost be regarded as the Duzhen Realm cultivator. Moreover, as far as they knew, Ning Fan still had countless primordial spirits and the Spirit Blast technique as his trump card. I wonder how Mu Tu will deal with this young man. This young man isn't someone to be trifled with, but if he forgives this young man for killing the members of the Quicksand clan, I'm afraid that Mu Tu won't be able to put down his pride. The 3 true immortals were thinking about Mu Tu's thoughts. At this moment, Mu Tu's expression changed. He put away his original angry expression and cupped his fists at Ning Fan coldly. I'm the patriarch of the Quicksand clan, Mu Tu. I heard that you wanted to join the Demon Exterminating Alliance and help us eliminate the demons. Is that true? Am I still qualified to join the Demon Exterminating Alliance with my current strength? Ning Fan's eyes turned cold as he examined Mu Tuesday. Why are you not qualified? You followed Kun Yunzi, Shui Kongzi and the others to Quicksand Realm and you didn't cause any trouble in this realm. If it wasn't for Raru and the others who were unreasonable and attacked you without your permission, why would you make such a big fuss in Quicksand Realm? As the patriarch of the Quicksand clan, I have to seek justice for my clansmen. That's why I attacked you. However, after this attack, I won't touch you again. Logically speaking, the fault lies with Raru and the others. What does it have to do with you? I'm not an unreasonable person. If you are willing to join the Demon Exterminating Alliance, I will certainly not stop you. As soon as Mu Tu's voice fell, the cultivators in the city burst into an uproar. No one expected that after Ning Fan killed many experts of the Quicksand clan, not only did he not fight to the death with them, but he also received a personal invitation from the patriarch of the Quicksand clan to join the Demon Exterminating Alliance. Even Ning Fan was slightly stunned. When he looked at Mu Tu again, his eyes were filled with inexplicable emotions. What if I don't want to join the alliance? If you hold a grudge against my Quicksand clan because of what happened today and you really don't want to join the Demon Exterminating Alliance, I certainly won't force you to stay. Mutu's eyes turned cold and answered. There was no threat in his words. However, Ning Fan could hear a hint of a threat in them. It was as if Mutu would do something unfriendly to him if he did not know how to appreciate his kindness. If I agree to join the Demon Exterminating Alliance, what position do you think I can get with my strength? Ning Fan probed again. Raru and the other 3 vice leaders died in your hands. You can choose one of the 4 vice leaders. As soon as Mutu said that, many cultivators in the Golden City looked at Ning Fan enviously. Before Ning Fan joined the Demon Exterminating Alliance, Mutu had already promised Ning Fan the position of vice leader. Such a generous treatment was really rare. I want the position of the alliance leader. Ning Fan said indifferently. Mutu's expression darkened. He looked at Ning Fan meaningfully without saying a word, as if he was thinking about something. Some of the old monsters were secretly shocked. They did not expect Ning Fan's ambition to be so great that he even coveted the position of one of the 4 great alliance leaders. Just when everyone thought that Mutu would reject Ning Fan's unreasonable request, he agreed to it without hesitation. Little friend, since you can withstand my attack head-on, you're probably invincible below the Duzhen realm. It's not impossible for you to become the leader of the alliance. However, according to the rules of the alliance, if you want to become the leader, you must defeat one of the leaders and seize his position. As he said that, Mutu changed the topic with a smile. However, the rules are dead. Who said that the Demon Exterminating Alliance can't have a 5th leader? If fellow Taoist Ning is willing to join the Demon Exterminating Alliance, you will be the 5th leader from the moment you join. The 5th leader, huh? If I have this identity, I'm very willing to join the Demon Exterminating Alliance. Speaking of which, I still don't know what benefits I get from being the leader of the alliance. As soon as they heard Ning Fan's words, the expressions of many old monsters changed again. Ning Fan had just become the leader of the alliance, but he actually asked for benefits again. Even though most of the cultivators in the alliance joined the alliance for the benefits, it was their first time seeing someone asking for benefits in such a blatant manner. Fellow Taoist, don't you think you're being a little too greedy? Mutu's expression darkened slightly and said with displeasure. I want to contribute to the alliance. Shouldn't I ask for some rewards? Ning Fan's eyes narrowed. The reason why he kept reaching for a yard after being given an inch was because he wanted to test Mutu's bottom line when he would tolerate him. Through this bottom line, Ning Fan could judge his usefulness to Mutu's day. At this moment, Ning Fan was very sure that the reason why Mutu tolerated him time and time again was mostly because he had an ulterior motive. As soon as he heard Ning Fan asking for rewards, Mutu began to feel a little unwilling. Ning Fan could vaguely tell that he was not that useful to Mutu's day. His usefulness to Mutu was probably between being useful and being of great use. It was far from the extent where he was indispensable. Mutu stared at Ning Fan coldly. After a long while, he finally said. I wonder what benefits fellow Taoist Ning wants. His tone was already a little impolite. 5 billion Tao crystals. Other than that, I want to enter the clan temple of the Quicksand clan and ask for a jade slip for a forbidden technique. This time, Ning Fan's condition was not demanding an exorbitant price. It was not difficult for the Quicksand clan to fork out 5 billion Tao crystals. As for entering the clan temple to ask for a jade slip for a forbidden technique, this request was not difficult either. Inside the clan temple of the Quicksand clan, there were golden statues of their primogenitor and the clan leaders of the past generations. Anyone who enters the clan temple and kowtows to the primogenitor's golden statue would have the chance to obtain a jade slip for a forbidden technique from the primogenitor. It could be used to defend oneself and save one's life. Everyone only had one chance to obtain a jade slip in their lifetime. Normally, the Quicksand clan would not allow outsiders to enter the clan temple and ask for a jade slip for a forbidden technique. However, the rules were dead. It was not impossible for Ning Fan to enter the clan temple and ask for a jade slip for a forbidden technique. As for the jade slip for a forbidden technique that Ning Fan asked for, whether its grade was high or low and whether its power was strong or weak, it would depend on Ning Fan's own luck. No matter how strong it is, it would at most be a peak grade forbidden technique jade slip for the Crossing Truth realm. Throughout the history of the Quicksand clan, no one had ever obtained a shedding grade forbidden technique jade slip. Thus, there was nothing wrong with letting Ning Fan enter the clan temple once. Alright. I can agree to these 2 requests. Does fellow Daoist have any other requests? Seeing that Ning Fan was rather tactful, Mutu's expression softened a little. I also want to obtain some information about the ancient heart. Ning Fan seemed to have pondered for a moment and raised another request. Hee. This request is simple. Fellow Daoist, take this jade slip. It contains detailed information about the ancient heart of the Quicksand Star Ocean. Mutu smiled meaningfully. He took out a jade slip and handed it to Ning Fan. Since Ning Fan was interested in the ancient heart, it seemed like he did not need to force Ning Fan. Ning Fan would fall into his trap and be used by him. Even though Ning Fan would not be of much use to him, he could more or less obtain some benefits for him. The Cave of Light of the Ancient God. That place had some opportunities that could only be obtained by cultivators who have attained the great perfection realm of the First Ring. On this day, Ning Fan officially joined the Demon Extermination Alliance as the 5th Alliance leader. On this day, some members of the Quicksand clan harbored resentment towards Ning Fan. However, they were suppressed by Mutu's day. Mutu sent someone to fetch 5 billion Dao crystals and gave them to Ning Fan. Then, he gave Ning Fan a dark yellow token and told him the location of the Quicksand clan's temple. The Quicksand clan's temple was buried in a forbidden area under the ground. It would only rise to the surface on one day every month. Cultivators who were not shedding void space could not break into the forbidden area by force. There were still 22 days before the next day when the forbidden area would rise to the surface. Coincidentally, this day was also the day when the poisonous mist in the Quicksand Star Ocean would dissipate. Eventually, Ning Fan took his leave. Mutu's eyes gradually turned gloomy as he stared at Ning Fan's back. If it wasn't because I'm afraid that exposing my cultivation base and abilities might expose my identity and attract the endless pursuit of the godly Void Pavilion, why would I have to compromise with a junior of the Ghost Profound Realm time and time again? I can directly reveal my cultivation base and force this Ning Fan to listen to my orders. Do I still need to be afraid that he won't obey me? Sigh. Unfortunately, it's inconvenient for me to expose my identity. For now, I can only use this method to lure him into my trap. There aren't enough cultivators and demon beasts that have fallen in the Quicksand Star region. I still need more blood to achieve my goal. Just as Mutu was pondering, the 3 true Immortal Realm Alliance leaders arrived at the Golden Palace and asked with a frown. Isn't it a little inappropriate to let that Ning Fan become the Alliance leader? Even if it's inappropriate, so what? That young man's abilities are almost not any weaker than yours and mine. Besides, fellow Taoists, don't forget that he still has a powerful trump card, the Spirit Blast technique. Once he uses that ability, I'm afraid even a late true Immortal Realm expert will have to avoid him. If this young man joins the Alliance, I'm sure he will be helpful to the matter of suppressing the demon plague in the Quicksand Star region. Mutu pretended to be polite to the few true immortals with a smile on his face. Inwardly, however, he was full of disdain towards the 3 Duzhens. These 3 Duzhens are already in a difficult situation and they still have the mood to care about other people's business. How ridiculous. Ning Fan was the 5th Alliance leader in name. However, Mutu did not assign him any subordinates or duties for the time being. Perhaps, he was worried that Ning Fan would participate in too many affairs of the Alliance. Perhaps, he did not want someone who was not part of his plan to mess up his plans. Ning Fan was not in the mood to deal with the affairs of the Alliance. After he left the Golden Palace, he directly flew away from the Golden City. Stepping on a blood lotus, he headed north for 5 days. 5 days later, Ning Fan appeared on a golden desert. The golden rays of the setting sun were shining on his back, causing his shadow to be very long. He stopped at this place and closed his eyes, standing on the barren desert. 17 days later, the clan temple rose from the forbidden underground area to the surface and appeared at this place. Ning Fan was waiting here. What he was waiting for was to enter the clan temple and steal the joss sticks. During the days of waiting, Ning Fan did not utter a single word and became one with the desert. As the sun rose and the moon set, he was comprehending the Tao aura of the Tao of time. During the 17 days, Ning Fan heard the heartbeats of the ancient gods 2 more times. He could hear them clearly even though they were separated by the quicksand star region. During the 17 days, his comprehension of the Tao of time was increasing bit by bit. However, the speed of improvement was extremely slow. Perhaps, he would have to stand at this place for 100 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years or even 100,000 years before he could truly comprehend the Tao aura of time in this place. Rumble, the desert beneath his feet suddenly trembled. Ning Fan's expression changed. At the moment when the trembling occurred, he leaped into the sky. Under his feet, a majestic pyramid was taking shape bit by bit. Outside the pyramid were 12 stone statues of sphinx-faced beasts. At the moment the pyramid appeared, the ruby-like eyes of the 12 stone statues glared at Ning Fan coldly. Their eyes were filled with monstrous killing intent. There are no more updates. Let's wash up and sleep. Chapter 769. The rubies in the eyes of the 12 sphinxes were called scarlet essence stones, which were unique to the quicksand tribe. This stone contained extremely powerful true yang energy and could be absorbed by second-step cultivators who cultivated true yang energy. This stone could also be used to refine treasures and set up formations. These 12 sphinx statues were arranged according to the formation. When they were combined, it would be an absolute killing formation. Even a void-shedding cultivator would not be able to break into this formation. If a cultivator below the Sky Renhuang realm tried to barge into the clan temple without a token, he or she would be killed by the red light in the eyes of the 12 statues. Ning Fan stood in the sky and looked down at the 12 giant statues. He had a feeling in his heart. If he did not show the token that Mutu had given him and chose to barge into the pyramids, he would definitely be attacked by the 12 colossi. You don't seem to be from the Quicksand clan. Why have you come to the clan temple? A few interrogative voices came from the pyramid. At the same time, 7 traces of profound ghost spirit sense spread out from the pyramid and swept towards Ning Fan. These 7 people were from the Quicksand clan, who were guarding the clan temple. Among the 7, there was even a mid-stage ghost profound expert. These people had been guarding the clan temple for a long time. Thus, they did not know what was happening in the outside world. They also did not know that Ning Fan had joined the Demon Suppressing Alliance as the 5th alliance leader. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out the token in his hand. In an instant, the 7 temple guards were shocked. Guest token. At the next moment, the ferocious glint in the eyes of the 12 giant statues disappeared. The 7 priests of the Quicksand clan hurriedly came out of the clan's temple and greeted Ning Fan with cupped fists. Their expressions were extremely respectful. As soon as they saw the token, even though the 7 of them knew that Ning Fan was not a member of Lu Sha, they still did not dare to offend him. The token that Mutu gave Ning Fan was a token that only the guest elders of the Quicksand clan could possess. With this token, even if Ning Fan was not a member of the Quicksand clan, he could still enjoy the treatment of an elder in the clan. Ning Fan's eyes flashed. He did not expect that Mutu would give him such a useful token. Now that he knew the origin of the token, he was slightly surprised but his expression did not show it. I want to enter the clan temple alone to kowtow to the ancestral statue and ask for the jade slip of a forbidden technique. I don't want anyone to disturb me. Ning Fan ordered indifferently. Yes. Naturally, the 7 priests did not dare to disobey Ning Fan's order. Every member of the Quicksand tribe who came to ask for the jade slips of the forbidden technique didn't want others to see their jade slips. The forbidden technique jade slip was the life-saving trump card of every Quicksand clansman. How could they let outsiders know about it? None of the oracles thought that Ning Fan was going to be a gentleman on the roof. They only thought that Ning Fan did not want others to know what kind of ability the jade slips he obtained contained. Ning Fan nodded his head in satisfaction. He walked into the pyramid alone while the 7 oracles waited respectfully outside. This was the place where the golden bodies of the Quicksand tribe's leaders were enshrined. There were thousands of temples in the tower, but only 500 temples had the golden bodies of incense. Of the more than 500 Quicksand clan elders, only 10 or 20 of them had incense flames continuously growing in their golden bodies. As for the others, their incense flames had stopped growing a long time ago. They had already been forgotten by the people of the world. No one consecrated them, no one revered them, no one worshipped them. Among these 20 people, Taoist Flowing Sand had the most incense sticks. This person reversed 10,000 years of time with a single finger, causing an ancient immortal venerable's cultivation to be reduced by 10,000 years. This had once shocked the entire Eastern Heaven immortal world. The number of Eastern Sky cultivators who worshipped him was not few. After 9 million years of accumulation, the number of incense sticks he had was not much less than the old ancestor of the Yao family. Walking past the temples, Ning Fan held the demon puppet in his hand and waved his hand to take away the incense stick power from the golden statues of the deceased. No matter how many incense sticks there were, Ning Fan would take them whenever he could. Of course, he would not waste them. Every time he took away a person's incense stick, Ning Fan would light up a stick of incense and bow to the deceased whose incense was stolen. Since the deceased had already passed away, it was useless to keep their incense sticks. Taking them away would not harm his Tao heart. Returning an incense stick to the deceased could be considered as a token of appreciation to them. After walking through all the temples, Ning Fan had obtained a terrifying amount of incense stick power. All of them were placed in his golden statue of incense sticks. The golden statue's appearance was exactly the same as Ning Fan's. The incense stick power it contained was enough for Ning Fan's magic power to increase by a few times. This was the total amount of incense sticks left by the leaders of the Quicksand tribe for more than 500 generations. It was enough to save a ghost realm cultivator 10,000 years of arduous cultivation. To Ning Fan, however, it was still not enough to break through to the mid-ghost realm in one go. It was too difficult to advance to the ghost realm. After stealing all the Joss flames, Ning Fan had achieved one of his objectives in coming to Quicksand Star region. Even though he had already obtained the Joss flame, he was not in a hurry to leave. Instead, he continued to walk towards the depths of the ancestral temple. In the deepest part of the clan temple, there was a golden statue of the Quicksand clan's first ancestor. Ancestor Quicksand was an immortal king of a generation. Ning Fan would not be able to steal his incense. As the ancestor of a clan, the amount of Joss flame power he had accumulated was naturally extremely terrifying. However, if he couldn't steal them away, Ning Fan would not covet them no matter how many Joss sticks there were. Most people entered the clan temple to pay their respects to the golden statue of the flowing sand ancestor and ask him to bestow upon them a forbidden technique jade scroll. Even though Ning Fan did not have the intention to worship the ancestral statue, he did not mind trying to see if he could obtain the jade slip of the forbidden technique from the statue. If he could obtain a forbidden technique jade slip for free, it would naturally be a wonderful thing. In the deepest part of the clan temple, there was a golden palace. Ancient incense burned in the palace, and the fragrance still lingered. On the 4 walls of the palace, there were some ancient murals, describing the past events of the Quicksand clan. A giant golden statue was carved in the middle of the palace. It was the statue of an elderly man with 3 eyes. There was a golden pupil on the glabella of that elderly man. He held a golden scepter in his left hand and a cobra coiled around his body. His right hand held a pearl. That pearl was made of pure gold, and it was even more dazzling than the other parts of the golden statue. It was as if it wasn't a golden pearl, but a small, dazzling sun. Is this the golden body of the Flowing Sand clan's first ancestor? Ning Fan's eyes were filled with emotions. He took a sandalwood incense from the side and walked towards the cauldron in front of the golden statue. He inserted a stick of incense into the ashes in the cauldron. Then, he cupped his fists slightly and bowed to the golden statue of the Flowing Sand clan's first ancestor. He was not a member of the Flowing Sand clan. Thus, he would not kneel to the first ancestor. This cupping of his fists was just a way to remember the ancestors and to see if he could obtain the jade scroll of the forbidden technique with this incense and bow. After bowing, Ning Fan quietly looked at the golden statue of the Flowing Sand clan's first ancestor and waited patiently. After he bowed, the Joss flame power in the golden statue of the Flowing Sand clan's first ancestor appeared out of nowhere. That trace of Joss flame power was naturally born from Ning Fan's admiration. The moment the Joss flame power appeared, the golden statue of the Flowing Sand clan's first ancestor gave off a faint golden light. Gradually, that golden light became dazzling. Traces of golden light condensed around Ning Fan and turned into golden jade slips that floated in the air. These golden jade slips were still in an illusory state. They recorded the various forbidden techniques that the Flowing Sand clan's first ancestor had learned in his life. Very soon, the palace was filled with the shadows of hundreds of thousands of golden jade slips. Ning Fan stood among the countless jade slips and his eyes were filled with amazement. He thought to himself that the Flowing Sand clan's first ancestor had such a powerful ability. He could actually use his own golden statue to leave behind opportunities for his descendants. As long as Ning Fan took away one of the hundreds of thousands of jade slips, the rest of them would all shatter. Anyone could only ask for a jade slip from the Flowing Sand clan's first ancestor. The hundreds of thousands of jade slips were too much for Ning Fan's eyes to take in. These jade slips could not be checked accurately. Before obtaining them, one could not use spirit sense to sense the strength of the forbidden technique engraved on them. If one were to use the naked eye to judge the strength of the forbidden technique in the jade slips, one could only judge the strength of the forbidden technique from the difference in the intensity of the golden light emitted from the jade slips. Ning Fan closed his eyes and released the power of his 5-colored medicine soul. He used the power of his medicine soul to sense the strength of the forbidden technique in the jade slips. The perception ability of the 5-colored medicine soul was extremely powerful. It was far beyond the perception of spirit sense. With the perception of the 5-colored medicine soul, Ning Fan could vaguely judge the strength of the forbidden technique in these hundreds of thousands of jade slips. Among these jade slips, there were Void Fragmentation Realm jade slips, Human Profound Realm and Ghost Profound Realm jade slips and even Crossing Truth jade slips. Even the strongest forbidden technique did not exceed the destructive power of a Peak Crossing Truth attack. A Peak Crossing Truth attack, huh? It seems to be somewhat useful. Ning Fan fixed his eyes on a golden jade slip. Just as he was about to take it, he suddenly frowned and withdrew his hand that was stretched out halfway. Ning Fan opened his eyes and scanned through the countless jade slips. Then, his gaze landed on an inconspicuous jade slip at the corner. The golden light on the jade slip was very weak. Normally, only the jade slips containing Void Fragmentation Realm abilities would emit such a weak light. Even though the light was weak, this jade slip gave Ning Fan a very strange feeling. Compared to the other jade slips, there seemed to be something different about this jade slip. After hesitating for a moment, Ning Fan waved his hand and kept this jade slip which had a weak light. He gave up on the Peak Crossing Truth attack jade slip. The moment he took this jade slip, the shadows of the other jade slips all dispersed and disappeared. Everyone could only obtain one jade slip of the forbidden technique from the flowing sand primogenitor. No one could get a second one. Ning Fan held the jade slip in his hand and spread his spirit sense into it. Then, his eyes turned strange. The forbidden technique recorded in this jade slip was much weaker than what he had imagined. It was called Great Void Light Prison. It was a type of heavenly abode sealing ability. Once this jade slip is activated, it could summon a heavenly abode cage that was formed from the rays of the sun and trap the enemy within it. This ability could at most trap origin returning Great Void stage cultivators. It could not even trap a first heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivator. This jade slip was useless to Ning Fan. Theoretically speaking, that was the case. Ning Fan carefully scanned through the contents of the jade slip. Suddenly, his eyes turned cold as if he had discovered something. Without any hesitation, he crushed the jade slip which he had just obtained and activated the forbidden technique in this clan temple. With his current cultivation base, he naturally did not need to worry about any changes caused by the Great Void Divine Technique. The reason why he crushed the jade slip and activated the Divine Technique was just to confirm one thing. If there was nothing special about this Great Void Light Prison, then he must have sensed it wrongly. If there was really something special about this Great Void Light Prison, perhaps the fortune hidden in this jade slip was far more valuable than that peak-crossing truth attack. At the moment when Ning Fan crushed the golden jade slip, a faint golden light swept across every corner of the palace. Ning Fan's eyes turned slightly serious. He took a step forward and disappeared from his original spot. With the help of the golden light, he went into the space of the Great Void Light Prison. It was a heavenly abode that shone with dazzling golden light. The scorching sun hung high in the sky and golden clouds covered the sky. As soon as Ning Fan entered this space, he immediately spread his spirit sense crazily, covering the entire heavenly abode. After sensing for a while, Ning Fan suddenly raised his head and looked straight at the dazzling golden sun. If he is a mortal, he certainly would not be able to look at the sun directly. However, with Ning Fan's cultivation base, he naturally had the ability to restrain the sunlight. Why would he be afraid of the sun's glare? As he looked at the sun, Ning Fan's tightly knitted brows slowly relaxed and he nodded with satisfaction. Then, he stepped on the golden clouds and soared into the sky, turning into a ray of escaping light and dashed towards the scorching sun. The closer he got to the sun, the hotter he felt. When he was 10,000 zhang away from it, he could no longer go any closer. If he continues to get closer, he might be burned by the sunlight even with his current cultivation base. Seeing this, Ning Fan's eyes flashed. He was even more certain that there was a fortune hidden in this place. How could a mere origin returning forbidden technique create such a powerful fake sun? Ning Fan stood 10,000 zhang away from the scorching sun. He raised his hand and summoned the memory-severing Dao sword, slashing at the golden sun. The dark golden sword light slashed vertically and the scorching golden sun was directly split into two. The golden sun collapsed. At the moment when the golden sun collapsed, the entire heavenly abode collapsed along with it. The broken pieces of space were extremely sharp. Even a first heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivator would not dare to touch them. Ning Fan did not dodge or evade despite the countless pieces of space piercing his body. When those pieces of space reached his body, they all disintegrated on their own. None of them could hurt Ning Fan. Ning Fan's eyes were fixed on the direction where the golden sun was destroyed. At a certain moment, an extremely scorching golden line suddenly pierced through the sky and fled towards a certain direction. Ning Fan's expression suddenly changed. Without saying a word, he stepped on black flames and used the Black Devil escape technique, directly appearing in front of the golden line. He directly raised his hand and slammed it down. Boundless magic power turned into a powerful palm imprint and blasted against the golden line. The golden line shook violently and its light weakened a little. However, it continued to change its direction and fled towards another direction. You can't escape. Ning Fan pointed his finger at the sky and forcefully stopped the golden line in midair. Then, he leaped forward and appeared beside the golden line. He then forcefully pointed his finger at it. Quickly show your true form. As soon as he pointed his finger, the golden line shook violently again and its light completely weakened. The golden light trembled and turned into a crystal fragment. Within the fragment, there was a faint golden light flowing. Ning Fan held the crystal fragment in his hand. Just as it touched his hand, his entire arm suddenly burst into flames. This crystal fragment contained a terrifying amount of true yang power. Its temperature was too high. The true yang power contained in just a fragment was enough to incinerate Ning Fan to death. Without any hesitation, Ning Fan raised his hand and activated the Yin fusion secret technique to restrain the true yang power in the fragment. Gradually, the chaotic true yang power in the crystal fragment calmed down and it became cold to the touch. The Yin fusion technique was an incomplete secret technique that Luo Yu taught Ning Fan. It had a special effect on restraining true yang power. After suppressing the true yang power in the fragment, Ning Fan fixed his eyes on it and examined it. After a long time, he came to a conclusion. This fragment should be one of the fragments of a certain crystal pearl. It was just a fragment of a pearl, but it contained such terrifying true yang power. If it's a complete pearl, the true yang power it contained would probably be much stronger than an innate treasure. The space of the heavenly dwelling had completely collapsed. Ning Fan was engulfed by the golden light and reappeared in the golden hall of the clan temple. Holding the crystal fragment in his hand, Ning Fan raised his head. Eventually, his eyes fell on the golden statue of the flowing sand ancestor. In the statue's right hand, there was a pearl that shone like a small sun. Perhaps the quicksand primogenitor once obtained a powerful orb, and the crystal shard in my hand is one of the shards of that orb. It's a pity that my main cultivation isn't the true yang divine ability. Devouring the true yang energy is useless. Otherwise, I could refine this crystal fragment and increase my strength by a lot. After keeping the crystal shards, Ning Fan walked out of the clan temple step by step. Just as he walked out of the clan temple pyramid, a sound-transmitting flying sword flew over from afar. It was a sound transmission from Mu Tuesday. The Godly Void Pavilion's young pavilion master has personally brought people to reinforce my quicksand star field. He wants to lead my quicksand world's cultivators and quell the quicksand demon tide in one fell swoop. Now he is discussing with this old man about the deployment of the war. Fellow Taoist Ning, as the Fifth Alliance Master, you have the obligation to participate in this discussion. Come to the Golden City as soon as possible. As soon as he heard Mu Tu's telepathic message, Ning Fan's eyes turned gentle. The young pavilion master of the Godly Void Pavilion, wasn't she Xiao Qianxi? Had she also come to the Quicksand Star region? It seemed like 100 years had passed since they parted ways in the Rain World. Perhaps, she had already broken through to the early mortal profound realm. I wonder if she has heard about my news and came for me, or if she really just came to quell the chaos caused by the demons in the eastern heaven. Ning Fan stepped on the blood lotus and sped towards the direction of the Golden City. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.